Okay, let's try this again. Apparently, I did a hate speech. I don't even know what it was about exactly, but YouTube said I did a hate speech. Guys, did I do a hate speech? I don't even know what I was talking about that could even come close to a hate speech. It had to be one of the videos I played. I wonder if it was that baby thing. I wonder if it was the guy talking about the baby stuff. I don't know. But they said I did a hate speech. So anyway, we're gonna just pick right back up where we left off. Good thing that first show was on Rumble though. If you want to catch that first show, if you want to catch the replay of the first show, it is up on Rumble. Just gonna have to get back to where we left off. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Like the video. Let's start over. Gonna drop the link in a minute, y'all. Back at it.
They should say the most dumbest, outrageous things, and they might add a little suburban nasal tone to their cadence to make you think that they sound fucking smart. So they might speak with a certain, matter of factness and a little twerk in there. These niggas is dumb as a motherfucker, and they don't make no fucking sense. And they only sound smart to dumb people who don't show their face. Most people on these shows don't even show their face, so already should let you know anybody that's hiding is already hiding. So most of these people on these shows don't even show what the fuck they look like, so I can't even take you serious. So back to Cooley, because he's showing his face. Cooley made one of the dumbest, and I left a comment. If you could, Wish Doctor, go to that video, because I left a comment on that video. And in that comment, I said that because what Cooley tried to do is he's conflating interest with natural ability. What do I mean by that? See, these goofy ass dudes think that, first of all, DI had nothing to do with lowering. It had something more to do with expanding hireable criteria. Because first of all, these stupid, dumb niggas are so dumb, they don't even realize that. Why the fuck do you think DEI got to be instituted in the first place? Because there's parameters put that alienate people from even getting hired, because these motherfuckers are so racist that we got to make them do it. So what they did was they didn't lower the qualification. They expanded it. What do you mean? I worked in construction, right? And I've also worked in low-level IT, because it's called the transport layer. You got the physical layer. Like, people don't understand, IT ain't just on the computer. It's levels to this shit. So I was at the base layer, transport layer of IT, the Internet of Things. And what they do is they will say, hey, when people get into certain fields like data analysts, certain entry-level positions in cybersecurity, whatever, you have to learn things, of course. But what they do is they take the skills you may already have. Anybody ever worked at a job and they didn't realize they had experience in something because they didn't understand the terminology of what they did? Right. So what they did was they expanded on qualifications. They didn't lower any fucking standards. So let's throw that goofy ass shit out the way. So people just don't know what the fuck they talking about. So what Cooley was talking about, he brought up the running back shit. He said that, well, white running backs, you don't see white running backs. You know why? You don't see them because they're not fucking good at it. They're not good at it because we are naturally better at it. They're not naturally better at us at flying planes. They're more interested in flying planes than black people. That's the only thing he proved. He didn't prove.
Now, that right there could explain any gap in black and white flying rates, right? What if black people just aren't as interested? And so even in the middle of his little hyperbolic rant, he kind of gave a very practical, benign, simple explanation But it's too practical. It's too benign. It's too simple. It doesn't satisfy his need for grievance. He wants to have problems.
Qualification or skill, he proved interest. Because black people has proven if we wanted to do something, we can fucking do it.
Hold on. Let's stop. Let's take that little argument.
No, we ain't got to stop nothing. No. You talk for mad long. We heard you. Good. And I'm not even talking to you. I'm not even trying to counter your points, because this is another thing. We're not talking like we having a conversation, but it ain't about you or me. I'm talking to the people. So I don't give a fuck if you agree with me. I don't give a fuck if you agree with Cooley. I don't even care, bro. You one person. I'm here to give balance to the hundreds or thousands of people who listen. It ain't about you countering my arguments and none of that shit, because all the stuff we talking about could be looked up. It's the fact that black men are on the fucking internet going out of their way to make their people look worse after these people already have done what they've done to us.
Yes.
And they're judging black people. And think about it. You're judging your own people after all of these focused attacks on you socially, politically, economically, after they all have taken place and the dust has settled. This is when you think this is the time to go all in on your people after all of that. That's just fucking dumb as hell.
Agreed.
So arguing that shit and going back and forth, I don't give a fuck what you about to say, bro. I'm not trying to counter or prove that you doing nothing. I'm talking to the people who got a brain. I don't give a fuck what you talk, because you just brought up classism. Of course, within a one race, you got classes. The dirty niggas don't want to fuck with the clean niggas. The fly niggas don't want to fuck with the bum. The rich people don't want to fuck with the people who ain't got money. That's classism. But one thing the whole world does, when it's their people against another people, they're going to pick their people.
Of course.
And then when they get rid of the other people, then they go back to their bullshit of, nah, y'all niggas can't come over here. It's like in jail in LA, right? You got Bloods and Crips. Them niggas kill each other. But in jail, guess what? They on the same team. Why? Because it's about race. The fuck is you niggas talking about, bro?
Real shit.
And shout out to Ong B Streaming and welcome J Prince to the stage. Ong B Streaming, he said he agreed with Hood earlier. He said niggas think Jay-Z and Beyonce they allies.
That ain't the fucking point. The point is when push come to shove, these people are gonna look, they don't look at us any different. Didn't Jay-Z, and I don't even like the fucking song, but he made a song called Still Nigga. What does that mean? He's saying that regardless of how rich I am, see, Jay-Z, what that man just typed on the screen, he didn't even think what he's talking about. He's talking about classism. Jay-Z is in a different class in the black community as us. But when it comes to us against other races,
right,
they don't look at him as the same as him. They look at him as one of us, whether we're rich or poor. The classism is within the race, but racism is outside of the race.
Facts.
You niggas are conflating things, and you're getting on the internet, and you may mean well, but you sound extremely fucking ignorant, and you're not helping anybody.
Nope.
You're causing confusion.
I want to highlight.
May I say something quick?
Let me respond. Hold on.
Go ahead, Hood.
Now, when you bring up the jail thing, as in everybody in jail is automatically on the race war team, like everybody's racial teamed up. That's literally true, right? For direct survival reasons, right?
Yeah.
We live in the free world. We can't all be held to jail rules. This is why niggas don't really want to.
It ain't a jail. You missed the point. It ain't about jail rules. No.
Don't do that to me when I didn't do that to you.
You're not talking about jail rules.
You didn't want me to do that to you. You didn't want me to do that to you.
All right,
so when you bring it up, it's highlighting the obvious reality where we're playing by a bizarre set of rules that only prisoners play by. And so I think when it comes to the issues of race, a lot of black folk are very emotionally tied to race. So when you bring up any issue and put a racial spin on it, it's very easy to get black people to follow the bouncing ball as long as you make it about race. And that's what black folk have been doing for the longest time. So when you bring up somebody, when you bring up somebody like the Jay-Z, and he points out how no matter how much money I have, I'm still a nigga. He's literally hanging out with the wealthiest circles, with the Illuminati elite and all this extra shit, trying to tell you that you're still a nigga. This is a programming that is being done to you by the people who know better.
First of all, I don't think I'm a fucking nigga. It's not you misconstruing the con. I don't even think I'm black, nigga. I'm a Moor. So I don't think I'm none of the shit most of these niggas out here talking about.
You literally just brought up the entire Jay-Z song to make that point that no matter how much you got, no matter what you do, you still a nigga. That was your whole argument, bruh. Rich nigga, poor nigga, bitch nigga, something nigga, still nigga, whatever.
That's not the point. The point is he knows that regardless of how far I get, these people are not truly my friends. So I'm using them how they using me. That's what he's saying. So when you brought up the jail, it ain't about going by jail rules. It's just that sometimes when you are in situations, it's like this. Some dudes, it take jail for them to even realize things they could have realized out in the street. Because when you're forced, when your sustenance is taken from you, when your freedom is taken from you, when everyday things you can do is taken from you, it forces one to think differently. So it ain't about jail. It's about the concept that
look
jail
at this.
faces. It's about
Oprah didn't even have to go to jail. Oprah went overseas, went in the store, and they tried to play her like a shoplifter.
And she's Oprah. It's not about jail rules. See, y'all say little stupid little white talking points to try to take it. So what you basically just said was, see, that's what's wrong with niggas. They think everything is the gang life. Everything. And that's not what I'm fucking saying. What I'm saying is when they're in jail, they realize something that they could have realized out in the street, that when push come to shove, when it comes to survival, when it comes to, because jail is not about gangsters. It's about survival. It's about resources. I got food. Do you got food? That's reality in the street too. So when they in there and they realize they don't have a lot of resources, when they just down to bare survival, toothbrushes, toothpaste, food, chips, they realize that the people that don't look like them are not going to let them eat. So they got to eat with the ones that look like them. Right. So it ain't about jail. It's that jail, unfortunately, makes us realize things we should realize when we fucking free. So get it right. Fake
Go
ass.
ahead, JP.
So I did tell Cooley in the video that when you talk about airplanes, because he thought he had me because I concede with what I was conceding with about the rap versus the airplanes. I said airplanes is subjective, is based, it's not a talent. You are being trained to do. Saying any race can get trained to learn how to fly airplanes. Compared to rap, that's black people expressions based on their upbringing and what they went through. And so that's a different type of ball game. And again, I agree. A lot of these people, they be thinking they be sounding real intelligent and stuff. But really they do not make. I think I dropped out in the second year of my 9th grade. Never been to school ever since then. And I'll be smoking these people with degrees. Why? Because a lot of times everything they know is being was coerced under a certain ram, under a bubble of a Eurocentric education system, and that's all they know. They thinking has been manipulated and been controlled. With me, I think outside the box. I challenge. I critique the messengers. I critique, the whole framework of the argument. So a lot of debates I will lose, because when I go into debate, I do acknowledge that first off, ain't no winning and losing in debate, because debates is not based on facts or evidence. It's only based off opinions and theories. And when you talk about stats and data is not factual information. It's not evidence. It's all in theory. Then when they use scientists contradicts other scientists, right? And then a scientist says it itself that it's all based on theories, not in evident form. So a lot of times when I go into debate, I want to critique the whole framework. And a lot of times they be trying to get me to concede into some stuff. Conceding to Eurocentric education is me agreeing with what they have taught us.
You know, and I know y'all in the chat talking about Jay Prince right now. And listen, with reason, he deserves every shot y'all took at him. But you know why I like Jay Prince? Because obviously we disagree greatly. We're two totally different type of niggas. But I will say this, like comparing him to like Philosophical, who was just talking. We're gonna hear more from him too in a minute. Jay Prince comes off as earnest, like he's attempting to find his way honestly, like he's honestly trying to find like knowledge and wisdom. But I think that he's already been trained to be a rebellious nigga, and he can't break that level of training. And because he can't break that level of training to be a rebellious nigga, his pursuit of like wisdom and identity is only taking him further down the path of being a rebellious nigga. Now he wants to intellectualize his rebellious nigga nature.
And my whole argument is I don't trust nothing that they have said. Anything, yeah. Do they have some little truths? Yeah. That's how they was able to manipulate. But they done put so much baking soda onto the sauce to the point where it's not even worth it. Ain't gonna get you high no more. So I I want to know all sides of the stories, because most of our information, like for an example, when they told us that black folks sold, when they told us that black folks sold us, we learned that from people that actually slaved us. We have not learned that from people who actually sold us. And in a court of law, everybody want to get a side of the story. It's three sides: their side, his side, and it's truth. And since ever since in American system, education system, we only been hearing it from one side, and the side that we've been hearing it has been proven to be liars, thieves, murderers, and all this, etc., etc. So we put our critical thinking in a.
But everybody does that though. We're all liars, thieves, murderers here. There's only killers in this room.
Hands of a thief and the hands of a liar. So yes, I would lose a debate because I'm not agreeing with anything. I'm going to critique the whole debate of what we are arguing about.
So let me ask you this, right?
Can I say? Oh, my fault. I'm sorry, DJ. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you this, JP. Why you think some black people don't want to talk about their history? Is it like insecurity? Is it like they ashamed? What is that about?
Because they don't have the talking about their history will rub their shoulders to get up to do something about it. And since a lot of these people believe then you can't beat them, join them type of movement that they having, they not that brave. The reason why it might sound tiresome to a lot of these black folks is because that they don't want to do nothing about it. They accepted defeat. And when you talk about history and stuff, it kind of like pushes them to have to go against to the people that they submit themselves to. And so they try to run away from. This is the reason why a lot of those, I call them butlers. This is the reason why most of them understand that to get popular and get recognition, you have to take the credibility, you have to take accountability from white folks and call out black folks. And they more comfortable with that because it's more beneficial, it's less
We're gonna skip ahead a little bit here. Is Philosophical and I were having a duel of wits for a moment. Let me jump ahead a little bit. I think it was mentioned earlier about the airplane thing. This is a very simple thing brought up, not by me, by the opposition, mind you. It's not that black people can't fly. It's that they weren't interested in flying. So the very idea of DEI being needed because there's a whole opposition trying to stop you from flying, how can that be true if you were never interested in flying in the first place, right? There are very simple ideas that you can lay out to explain away a lot of the problems that people had, but there ain't no money in that. There ain't a lot of money in what I'm doing right now. And so to call it the conservative grift would imply a lucrative financial motive to lie to people, which is what I'm trying to explain to you. There's a lot more money in being a Jesse Jackson, an Al Sharpton, anybody with a bald head and bow tie. There's a lot more money in doing that.
Can I respond?
You almost truth, bro.
Hold on, I got a question for him.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you the truth. That's the best I heard conservative talk in a minute, though. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Wait a minute, let him. Wait a minute.
Certain things he said I agree with. Certain things he said what I agree with.
He said some shit that I'm agreeing with, because a lot of times he's doing the other shit.
But let me ask him this question.
Go ahead, Free. Go ahead.
So, Hood Service, I hear you saying that history shouldn't be taught by the black grifters. So then, do you agree that history should be taught in our educational system? Our real history, true, proper black history, should it be taught in the Americans? In the public school system?
It
was a simple question with a simple answer. I'm not going to take forever. I want things that are verifiably true to be things that you can prove to be taught. That's all. If you can prove it, then teach it. I don't have a problem with that. But niggas be making up shit, standing on nothing.
Like what we make up tonight? What we make up tonight?
Oh, brother. Black people did not invent white people.
Yes, we did.
All right, I'm not gonna cite you on it, but he asked me what was thrown out there, and I'm gonna say that was what was thrown out there, and I'm gonna stand on that. That was okay. Niggas believe crazy shit.
Okay. What else you got?
But that can't be the only thing, though, bro.
That's what I'm saying. What else you got? What else you got that black people say that's not verifiable?
Were we Indians?
Is Jim Crow verifiable?
Were we Indians, Moors, or slaves? Which one? Because we got three different identity stories.
No, you don't know what these words mean, and I'm telling you,
were we Moors, Indians, or slaves?
Listen, bro. I swear to God, bro, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You need to stop talking, bro. Like I'm telling you, bro. Like you're able.
Niggas that ask me questions,
bro. Listen, you're lying, brother. You're lying, bro. Listen, brother.
You ask me questions. Are we Moors, Indians, or slaves, bro?
Listen, bro. This out of love. I swear to God, bro. I swear to God.
Bro, listen, are we
I'm sticking to the script. I'm sticking to the. Listen, bro. You're a lot, bro. Your information is easy to debunk. You're not a challenge at all.
You can't debunk the question.
Son, relax.
Are we Moors, Indians,
relax.
That's a good question.
That's a dumbass question.
Because nobody up here brought that up, bro. We're talking about.
So we weren't even
what you disagree. What we talked about.
You asked me about
can I respond?
And I'm like, and shout out to DJ Witch Doctor, by the way, for having this conversation, because this was so funny. I couldn't believe. Sometimes you wind up in these moments, and it's just amazing. It's like surreal to be in the moment. But I remember years ago, some of the first content I did was called Communitile Mythology. And we talked about Yakub and the whole story of Yakub and the white people and da-da-da-da. And even if you don't focus on Yakub, the fact is there is a lot of mythology that Black people have created that they take pride in, that they self-identify with, for the purpose of having something to take pride in. And then when you challenge it with simple, just logical questioning, it falls apart and people be mad.
All right,
I don't know. You asked me about this.
Get in that box.
You asked me about what niggas believe in, right? And I pointed out niggas have some interesting beliefs that you can't believe, that you can't necessarily prove. Right now, there's an argument whether or not we were slaves on a ship. Niggas don't even believe we were sailed across the ship on slave ships, right? Were we Indians that were always here, or were we the original Moors? Hell, were we the original Jews? Like, niggas have 4 actual identity stories that are competing with each other. And now you want me to believe that all 4 things are equally true at the same time.
I don't want you to believe anything because I never brought none of that shit up. So I'm gonna say this. I know I'm a Moor. But first of all, it's not about what niggas say. It's about what you fucking know. And what you just displayed is you don't know.
Now, how does he know he's a Moor? How does he know he's a Moor? Has he like done his genealogy? Did his family tree land on Blackamoor? I mean, it could very well be true, but I'm curious. How do you know?
And that's okay. You may know a little bit about Charlie Kirk. You may know a little bit about right-wing talking points. You may not. You may even be well versed in the Anton sphere, and you seem like a very well-spoken red pillist. But when it comes to Black history, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't even have the right frame of mind to approach the topic because you think Black history is a pseudo creation of the Nation of Islam. That's one of the most. I mean, you said it very you said it very intellectually and you articulate it. It sounded very well. You use very good vernacular, but the concept of what you're saying, when
Vernacular battle, nigga. Let's go.
I say you should stop talking, I mean, you can say whatever you want to say, but it's these spaces this is a blessing for some of y'all because y'all can come on these channels where it's just kind of fair game, but in real conversations, in a real way, you will look extremely foolish. Black history has nothing to do with Elijah Muhammad, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. These are Black activists.
Now, at the same time, you have a guy on the panel, Jay Prince for president, who literally believes a Yacobian theory that absolutely comes straight out of the NOI. I'm not making it up, bro. I'm just telling it like it is, bro.
It has nothing to do with documented historical events that displays an
Yo, they said I did a hate speech earlier. One of those videos probably got me a hate speech, but it was a warning because I don't do nothing on this channel anyway, so this channel been dead. I got a freebie technically, but it's messed up though because I just tried to remonetize the channel and they taking a while to give me an answer back, so I might have been on my way to getting the monetization, and now I think I just screwed myself with the monetization, but c'est la vie.
And unfolds social and political conflicts that altered the history of the world. For you to not know the difference lets me know that in these matters, you should stop talking. So let's get back to the Moors and the Indians. First of all, my name is Eric Hutchins. That's my name. So I'm a Hutchins. I can get arrested tomorrow and I will be an inmate. Does that stop me from being Eric Hutchins? No. So if someone was a slave or someone was in a position of servitude, they can still be that and have a national understanding and name.
He's attempting to battle my vernacular. He's trying so very hard right now. This is the spectacular vernacular battle.
So for you to say, how can they be more in a slave? Easy. You can be a white man and gay. You can be a Black man and a Crip. You can be a Black man and a lawyer. You have an identity as a person. You have an identity as a function. You have an identity as a family member. You have an identity as a national to where you're from.
If the Moors are largely a North African group, how can the Black Africans that are coming from the western coast of Africa, for the most part, be Moors too? It's literally claiming two different stories, bro. But never mind that. Spectacular vernacular battle.
All of these things can exist at the same time. So for you to propose these questions, it just shows an extreme lack of not just history, but words, my brother. So when it comes to the word Moor, bro, that just means a dark-skinned person. It has nothing to do with religion or anything. Indians was a misnomer because when Christopher Columbus came to America, he thought he was in India because he seen the same dress wear as he saw when he was in India and in these other Asiatic places. So he called them Indians, but they never was. So these simple things to people who are well-read can easily be debunked. But you're speaking to people who are not. And a lot of you men are just not well-read on these subjects. And you just think that.
You know what? I also forgot to add that in the midnight hour, she cried more. With a rebel yell, she cried more. I know Black history too, nigga.
You buy into the fact that your people are dumb, and you buy into the fact that your people are just drug addicts and twerkers and gang members. You really buy into that, and you start to believe it, and it's not fucking true. So what you should do is become more studious. Don't worry about what Illa say. Don't worry about what niggas say. It's about what you as a grown man has taken the time out to learn for yourself. And I'm not talking about Google or ChatGPT. I'm talking about the old school way by becoming familiar with literature. Please do that, brother.
Nigga used more words than women do, and he never really got to the basic explanation of the Black identity. That was really what I was getting at. What's the true Black identity? Are we Native Americans who always been here and never came across on the slave ship? Are we slaves from West Africa that got sold into the game? Are we Moors from North Africa? And then I don't even know how we became slaves and Moors. And like, you never answered the actual question, bro, but like 1,000 words, bro. Now, there's a very obvious disparity here. One side has a lot of sign language and meandering dead-end arguments to offer, and the other side has questions and obvious tricks that Black people can't solve. Like, are we Indians, Moors, or were we slaves? Or were we the original Jews? And the whole question of this segment started out about Black people being stuck in history. And now let's say that we resolve one of those 4 identity problems, right? Let's say that you accept that you actually were the ancient rulers of the white man. Let's say that you actually did build that pyramid and somehow the white man kicked you out your pyramid and you don't even remember how it happened. Let's say all that's true. How has studying and learning all that stuff actually gone for you? Like, what has that actually built for the Black people who actually are supposed to be the beneficiaries of all of this mystical historical?
It redirected us in the state that we supposed to always have been. The way we've been practicing and moving today, we've been moving backwards instead of forward because we have been indoctrinated with stuff that didn't mean us no good, right? So when we were building pyramids and stuff, that's a sign of, by the way, that the smartest white man can figure out how those niggas built those pyramids, right? The smartest genius of
nigga, the smartest Black man can't figure it out either, though. Like, what are you doing? Oh my God. No. You don't really I don't think Black people understand how like embarrassing the whole "we was Kangs" narrative really is. And I'm throwing a link in the chat. I'm not going to review the entirety of this on my own because I can't stay here all day. I gotta leave. I gotta go soon. But imagine having pyramids and then letting other people steal your pyramids, and then you still claiming some kind of greatness because they stole your pyramid. I mean, if they stole your pyramids and you don't even remember how to build them no more, what they say about you, bro? Like, I wish niggas would drop the whole pyramid argument. Just let that go. It's a bad look. It really is.
Wait, what? Great. Now, what's our motto? We was Kangs. We was Kangs!
What the white man, he couldn't even figure out how niggas did that. So what it did was it put us in a state of freedom, for one. Second, we realized the education that we have been receiving, we have been bamboozled. We have been misled. We've been hoodwinked. So,
Jamar, you know what? Nigga, I've forgotten where I've parked my car once or twice, all right? God damn it, it happens. It happens. But you know what I ain't never forgot? I ain't never forgot where I put my pyramid, nigga. Like, these are not even the same thing, bro. Because you might go out one night, you drink too much, you did too much or whatever, and you might get up in the morning and you got your keys in your pocket, but you forgot how you got there. And you know your car's around here somewhere. I ain't never forgot what I did with no pyramid, though. That ain't even nowhere near the same shit, bro. Like a whole pyramid? Nah, something happened here, bro. There's a story to this shit.
What I took from that is I learned to put that white man education system down. And when you asked us earlier, who should we learn history from? It should be people of African descent or from the Africans that didn't have nothing to do with slavery. I don't want to learn nothing from people who were subjugated, because the only thing they're going to teach me is subjugated practices, how to survive through subjugation. So just because we got somebody from the early 1900s and compared to 2025, they damn near the same, right? If I want to learn something from my history, I really learn from Africa, people that actually lived in there, even though we got to fish around that because they done colonize the world. But I think the most important way to learn history is through nature. Nature was the only thing that was the beginning, present, and an end. Nature never changed. So when you say how did that help us, it helped me to realize that, okay, I was stupid. I wasn't scared.
Ooh, Lord, you niggas make it too easy. You make it too easy. But I'm not. I'm gonna wait for the harder job. I'm gonna wait for the more difficult joke. I gotta craft a joke that the average nigga can't just craft easily, because that was too easy.
I went to a white man education system and I thought I was smart. I believed in a white man religion and thought that was the way to heaven. I used to believe all in that white people stuff, that Eurocentric stuff, just like everybody else did, until I got a different understanding and realized, man, I'm not going to practice something that taking me backwards, right? But once I start learning this other type of stuff, it led my mind to a state of freedom. I think
led his mind to a state of freedom. God bless you, JP. God bless you, bro. Because I know you be trying. You mean well. But god damn, bro. I don't think black people understand the concept of freedom. It's just a word that people use to make other people feel something. I mean, because in the grand scheme of things, you are more free just by being in America. It doesn't even matter what color you are, because that's why everybody trying to get here, because you're free. Here is the freest place to be free. But when black folk talk about it, they act as if they have a white man in their mind that they need to defeat. And by reading all this ancient black knowledge, wisdom, they can somehow overcome the white man in their minds, and then they'll be free. And it's just a weird thing, which is like, you are already trying to solve a mental problem. Like, the problem was you, nigga. It wasn't the outside physical country, the real world. It was you. You are fighting you problems. Like, you know what? We were having that Chat GPT conversation. There was a line that stuck with me. It says, the Chat GPT is a smart little bitch too, man. I'm gonna run that for y'all one of these days. But fucking Chat GPT said conservative has to stop having conversations with ghosts. That shit kind of hit me though, because I do have ghosts in my life. That shit kind of hit me. Like I don't believe in ghosts, but you know what I'm saying. I'm like, damn, that bitch knew I had ghosts in my life. Fucking evil computer knew that shit. But like a lot of black folk, I think their ghost is a white man. My ghosts are actual dead niggas. A lot of black folks have like the white man as their perpetual ghost. And so, yeah, that's a whole deep thing. I kind of started trailing off into a corner now. We got a panel. What's going on, gentlemen? We got Mr. O. We got Izzy Bands up here. Thanks for coming up, Iz. I did welcome you up to the show. I totally forgot what we were talking about earlier. That maybe even show you the invite.
What's good? Because you was saying that slavery, so-called slavery in America, wasn't wrong. And so I was asking you to to substantiate that premise. But what's going on, Mr. O, with the info? What's good with you, fam? How you doing?
What's going on, Hood? What's going on, Izzy? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want to inquire on that particular question to Hood Conservative. I mean, we can't talk on both sides of the argument like you was about to go ahead and illustrate. You know, I'm on Damon Wayans something for living cover situation right now.
I got you. I think. Well, I said I could have argued either side of it, but I'm going to take the positive side. I got to be pro-slavery right now, and it's a difficult argument. But I guess you know what? I think it's pertinent that two adult black men of reasonably well-intentioned have this particular argument because black folk like we kind of moralize the position, and it's not even a moral argument in my opinion. And so I want to start with that. It's not a moral situation at all. Our concept of morality came way after the worldwide introduction of, not introduction, but just the phenomenon of slavery. It is, I would argue, in the grand scope of human evolution, like going from being primitives to, you know, having little villages and then going to have cities and whatnot, slavery was always a part of that. And it serves two functions. One, if you want to build some shit, you can just throw infinite bodies at it and eventually it will get done. That was like the first way we understood productivity as a group, as a people, right? If I just have enough of a vision and enough bodies to throw at a thing, the thing will get done. And so a lot of our, you know, great ancient works, a lot of these buildings, the Great Walls and all that kind of stuff, the Taj Mahals, yada, 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 a lot of that was done with just slave labor, because how else would it have gotten done at that point in the chronology of human development? And so I think as people, slavery was an evolutionary step. It's like we couldn't have guns unless we had bow and arrows first, right? We need the concept of a projectile weapon in order to now to perfect the very concept of a projectile weapon even further. Because before we had a bow and arrow, we had a spear. And if somebody was like, you know what, I can only do so much with my arm, but if I find a way to shoot this thing even further, like I can kill more, I can be away at a safer distance. Like we constantly perfecting the way we get things done. And I'm just arguing that in a grand scope of human evolution and the evolution of civilization, slavery was just the step one.
So when you speak about slavery, you have to understand that that terminology was redefined in the so-called Americas, right? So you have to understand that the slavery of old was more like indentured servitude, where you had a time frame, a position where you worked for a certain amount of time, and then you were able to get out of that servitude. You did certain things and you were able to get out of that servitude. You were able to marry into the family or whatever the case may be. It was certain things of that scope and nature. So indentured servitude, in the sense of so-called slavery, is a lot different than chattel slavery in America, which, even if you take the morality out of it, you have to talk about the humanity of it, right? So let's take the morality of it, right and wrong. Let's take that off the table, since you want to take that off the table. We could do that, right? But you have to identify that, number one, most of the people that were enslaved, so to speak, and used in the slave market system were not even looked at as human beings. So the fact that they were not even looked at as human beings and they were looked at as beasts of burden should already give you a clear indication of the fact that it was wrong. The second thing is, not only were they looked at as beasts of burden, but they were treated less than beast. of burden. People would treat their dogs, their horses, their donkeys much better than they treated these human beings. They were tied to horses and ripped apart. Dogs were sicked on them. They were beaten. They were raped. It was a lot of
Let's not get too
things.
extravagant, because I think that's why I got the strike on the last stream. It might have been
Oh,
that baby thing that the dude was talking about. So let's be, I know niggas be getting extravagant with the whole, slavery atrocity
but
stuff.
I didn't say I got you. I didn't say
I know you didn't. I'm just putting a warning out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got you. Well, I'm just saying, but you know the extents that were happening. I mean, even to what happened to Nat Turner, or what even in the 50s, what happened to Emmett Till, like the amount of monstrosity that they went through. So the problem is not so much the indentured servitude aspect of it, the fact that you were conquered and then you had to work off a debt, or you had to do free labor. That okay, that's one thing, right? That's a free market system, right? Whatever the case may be, but the inhumane acts that happen is what makes it wrong.
Well, I don't think for the entirety of human history, your concept of humanity was even a thing.
That part.
And I don't. Let me highlight a couple of things here. Let me try to work backwards through your argument a little bit. First off, Emmett Till is mission creep. We're talking about slavery. We're not talking about racism and post-war America.
Fair.
Slightly different. So let's put Emmett back in his casket.
Fair.
The slavery thing, though, in terms of humanity, it gets a bit nuanced, right? Because your concept of humanity is literally a Christian-based concept of humanity, which is the unique concept of humanity. It's Western culture by far is what we believe in, but your concept of humanity even applied to slavery, in that the Christians came to Africa and the Africans didn't have plantations, right? The Africans didn't have vast agricultural distribution networks. They didn't have tobacco and sugar cane and cocoa and all the rice or whatever it is that people would have grown back in the day as agricultural goods, right? Jesse Lee is referencing something that I joked about a lot on this channel, because it's just obviously true. We don't like to think about it, but the Africans ate a lot of their slaves for ritual purposes, maybe because it just wasn't nothing else laying around fresh to eat. For whatever reason, they didn't actually use their slaves.
Can we stop with the ignorance? Can we stop with
it's
the ignorance?
not ignorance, though, because this is a literal truth. This is a documented truth.
Bro,
and I'm not saying every single one. I'm just making that point that there was cannibalism at that level.
Which tribe? That's that. Yo,
whatever tribe. We're talking about the vast continent here. Like, cannibalism does happen there, and so like the idea that you wouldn't be sacrificed to a god versus sold to a white man and put to work on a plantation, you were better off in the hands of the white man, is all I was trying to point out. Like, they wouldn't have kept you alive to get labor out of you. So in a place where, thank you, studio, the homies sacrificed thousands, and I'm not saying they literally cannibalized thousands, maybe one or two, just because, celebration, but in a place that does not have an industry to actually apply labor from the slaves, what do you think they did with all those people, bro?
Man, fam. So this is the thing. This whole, and this is why, even though as crazy as JP sounds a lot of times, that particular argument gives somewhat credence to some of the things that he says. This whole narrative that so-called that Africans were cannibals is a lie from the pits of hell. It's been proven.
Lots of people are. They're not unique.
It's been proven, it's been shown, it's been proven that was propaganda and lies to try to justify what they did. But this would, we have to agree on a premise, because I don't believe that they took millions of Africans from Africa and brought them over here and enslaved. I think that
That's
is
impossible.
absolute. Hold on, real right. I think it's absolutely ridiculous and insane for anybody to buy that narrative that's old enough and intelligent enough to think for themselves. I think that that's just an asinine argument. When I was a kid, did I believe that? Absolutely, because that's what was told to me. At the same time, as an adult, as a grown man, thinking and looking at it, yo, there's no way possible, right? Like my man says, no way possible that happened, right? So let's start there. Number two, right? The thing I'm saying is, it's identity theft. What happened in America is an identity theft. It's a fraud case. It is a and we had the part of this argument before, part of this back and forth before conservative, right? This is the thing, right? They didn't take it by force. When it was coming to force, they got ran out of Roanoke. When it was coming to force, they were losing numbers in Jamestown. When it was coming to force, they weren't able to establish force. So they had to come with a whole new scheme, a whole new game plan. And that's why it took 100 years from the alleged first settlement in 1590, which was Roanoke, and them people disappeared. It's called the lost settlement, right? And then Jamestown in 1617 in Jamestown, allegedly, right? Excuse me, 1607 in Jamestown, allegedly. And then allegedly you had 12 years later the transatlantic slave trade, which allegedly started in 1619, which is some bullshit, because it even if you go to your Google, even if you go to your Chat GPT, it will clearly tell you that those people were dying from disease, and they were dying for conflict with the Aboriginals, indigenous, native people, whatever you want to call them, classification of the people that was already here. They were getting wiped out. They were getting wiped out from diseases because they couldn't handle the environment at first, and they were getting wiped out in conflict, right? So there, it happened where it hook or crook happened. Some smarter people came along and said, you know what? We can't beat these people physically just alone. What we gotta do is we gotta use some technology. And so they brought the technology in. They started
used
doing
technology on the Native Americans.
Absolutely. Shit. Okay. They done. Well, see, Native, and I shout out to Dan Calloway. I know y'all probably don't agree with Dan Calloway, but it's cool. But shout out to Dan Calloway. I have to give him credit, because Native is a different classification than what I would consider myself, right? I would consider myself more of an indigenous person than a native person. A native person refers to the Asiatic people who were here, who came later, right? Okay. But the people that look like us,
I can ask right now.
The Mongolian type of, yeah, we
right.
get what you easy.
Right, those are natives. We're not. We're indigenous. We precede those people.
You precede the actual quote natives, because you're probably right. A lot of them, like from the western part of America, definitely came down that ice corridor.
Yes. The Alaskan, right. The
we
Alaskan
have three different
classifications. Izzy, mind you, we were talking slavery, so you totally shifted the parameters here. So we can go anywhere.
Wait. No. I'm not. But hold on. It's one and the same, because what I'm saying is I'm rejecting your premise of the African premise, right? Those were very limited amount of people who was brought from Africa, and those people were brought to places like Brazil, places like
Jamaica,
those people,
Caribbean.
Right. Those people were brought there. So there was a such thing as the people who were brought from Africa, but it wasn't the number, and they weren't brought to America. Shit, they even told you Christopher Columbus never landed here. He landed in the island of Hispaniola, right? Or Bermuda or some Bahamas or whatever the hell. It's been modern day Haiti / Dominican Republic. He never touched this land. So this is why I'm saying that the level of lies, the level of misdirection, the level of identity theft and fraud that's going on. I'm talking about one and the same thing. Slavery in America was identity theft and fraud. Now, did they use violence to enforce it eventually? Absolutely. When they had their numbers right, when they had their weapons right, when they had whatever the case may be. But initially, they couldn't handle it from that level, so they had to bring reinforcements and they had to use technology.
I think you're losing me a little bit here. You kind of meandered way off some points. Let me kind of work through this. So I went back to Africa and I started talking about the cannibalism, which I'm not saying again, everybody was eating everybody, but it was a thing that was relatively common. It was written about, it was talked about, it was written down. It wasn't anti-Black propaganda. Now, that being said, the reason why I mentioned that is I want you to sort of do an abstract a mental exercise, right? Imagine it's like the year 1 million BC, right? We're all primitive and we have war with primitive weapons, with clubs and sharp sticks and all that, right? And so if we encounter another tribe, you know what we do to these other tribes? We kill them all. We wipe them out.
Facts.
Totally wipe them out. And then you know what we do? We have to carry all their shit back home. And so now we have this giant tribe of people that we ran down on them and we wiped them all out and we take all their stuff. They got a lot of stuff too because they was rich and they had discovered all this cool shit that we got to figure out later. So now they're all dead and we got all their stuff and we got to carry it back home. And then one guy, he comes up with an idea. He says, you know what? What if instead of killing everybody, next time we keep like 3 or 4 of them alive and we make them carry all of their shit for us? Do you see how that's an evolutionary improvement?
Yo, fam, listen, if it was just that and if it stopped just there, I could agree with your premise, but we know that it wasn't, and that's indentured servitude, what you're describing, and I already agree.
No, it's not. You're using words that mean nothing.
But it absolutely means something, because listen, if you're telling them to carry their own shit by force, whatever the case may be, that's a whole lot different
than our stuff though. But it's ours now. They belong to me, their stuff belongs to me, and they're carrying their stuff for me back to my house. How is that not better than them just being dead and now I gotta do all this shit myself?
Listen, nah, but again, so again, the premise is, and this is a false, you know what I'm saying? The problem is that you are trying to make a false equivalency, right? So chattel slavery wasn't that in America. It was way worse than that. It was 1,000 times worse than that in America.
What do you mean?
What you mean? It wasn't just bro.
How is being dead and you have no shot, no opportunity, no descendants, no nothing? How is that better than being alive and having a chance at all these other things?
Yo, wait. Hold on real quick, Mr. O. Just give me 1 quick second. I'm gonna be real succinct quick. Yo, fam, there's a saying. There's some things that's worse than death, and I would argue that chattel slavery was worse than death. Go ahead, Mr. O.
I was just going to highlight all the monstrosities and heinous acts that has also been documented, some with even pictorial evidence of some of these slave masters. Majority of the Becky origin, what they was doing to their so-called slaves, and especially I forgot the name of the historical mistress down in New Orleans who disfigured her slaves in awkward body positions and had them actually live in that torturous type of endeavor. So to agree with Izzy, there are some things that are better than actual living in so-called thing that is called death.
One, you understand that the story of Dracula is actually based on a real figure who did some very heinous things in real life. He was so heinous that they made him.
He was European. He wasn't black.
My point being that everybody gets the stick, bro. Everybody gets the sharp end of the stick. In the grand scope of history, the rich people crush the poor people.
Yo, you talking about one person versus a so-called race of people and fam, and they use the narrative. Yo, the greatest crime. hold on real quick, Mr. O. The greatest crime is the identity theft. The greatest crime is not only did they use the physical violence, but they used the identity theft to confuse the people and to keep them away from their lands and their land rights. So at the end of the day, they tell you fantastical stories about Africa, and you came from Africa, and they had all these stupid ass slave ships that nobody could find that brought all these millions of people over here from Africa, and none of your great grandparents or great great grandparents know shit about no Africa, and all of them speak freaking English. I mean, I'm just saying.
I think black folk love this right here. This is what we love. We revel in it. We bathe in it. We lather it up. We rub it on our skin as lotion and moisturizer. This idea that we've been like a historical victim, unique in the grand definition of victimhood. Our suffering is purer. Our suffering is blacker. Our suffering is truer than anybody else's in the world. And I just don't think it's true. I think we had a moment as the descendants of slaves in America, they suffered, right? I'm not going to say they didn't suffer. And I've always said, you know, shout out to them for taking it so we could be here. Because I cannot say as a beneficiary of their suffering, the fact that they did the hard stuff so I could be here right now doing the easy stuff, I can't now go say that was worse than death. I can't. How can I say that was worse than death when that means I have to sacrifice my own life? And I'm just not ready to do that for the sake of some principle. My principle totally in the opposite direction. My principle is life, and I'm glad to have it. And
no matter what quality it is, no matter
it's
what,
pretty good quality right now, though.
Right, but we're not talking about you and right now. We're talking about the ancestors in slave times in America. So if you were forced labor, and you were done dirty in other ways, since you said don't mention those ways, which we know what those ways was, like
right.
And at the end of the day, at any given time, if you didn't comply or you didn't acquiesce, then you were deleted anyway in the most horrific and horrendous ways. What's the point? What's the difference?
Well, for one, almost everybody lived under some type of rule like that at that time. At that time in the world, pretty much everybody literally lived under the sword, right? So you don't necessarily get to claim a special suffering. And then two, as a black slave in America, I dare you to trade places with anybody in Africa at that time. You would rather be in America.
Nah, but guess what? You didn't address anything that I just said. So
because you can't make it better. You can only compare what could have been.
No, but this is the thing, to say that that's a real ambiguous statement to say everybody lived under the sword. That's not the same thing as everybody being under chattel slavery and being forced into a particular forced labor, plus on top of that being exposed to very inhumane circumstance, and then as a repercussion for not complying, capitulating, or acquiescing, then you are deleted in the most heinous ways. So like at the end of the day, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees any and every day.
Are you calling our ancestors some type of cowards or less than men?
There you go.
Are you impugning their masculinity right now?
Oh my God, there you go, twisted.
I'm asking you because you're saying that they somehow took the coward's way out by living.
I didn't say that. No, I'm
what
not.
What do you mean by that?
What I'm saying is, if you ask me personally, and you said, would I prefer to die or would I prefer to live under those circumstances? I said I would prefer to die. Now, there's stories.
I don't think I asked you that.
No, you did. You literally did. You got.
I was asking you
so much.
No, I was asking you, would you rather be an American slave or a slave in Africa?
No. Before that, hold on. Before that, I would rather be neither. But before that, you asked me, would I rather die?
Well, I asked it in general. Yeah, is being dead better than being alive?
Right,
exactly. You made that simple thing. Right, all right, yeah, I get that. I get what you mean, but here's the thing, bro. Slavery is just a reality of the world, and I think black folk, we put a lot of spin on it. So, like, for example, the atrocity thing. Sir El Cid makes a great point. If you're a farmer and all of your investment, all of your life depends on your farm running properly, You need to get this product out to market. You need to have it done on time. You need it to come out as well as you can possibly get it. You are not going to go out of your way to abuse what would be considered your equipment. And I think that's a simple functional reality that a lot of Black folk can't grasp on an emotional level, because we like to believe that it was everyday beatings.
So okay, so if you got graped once in a while, if you got beat down once in a while, if you got the dog sicked on you once in a while, if you got daggone strung from a tree once in a while, if you got that, come on, man, like there's a lynching museum like that actually happens.
Let's take it one at a time. Let's take it one at a time. I'm willing to wager. I'm willing to wager that the majority of those gals actually would have rather taken their chance in Master's house and Master's bed. If given her options, given where she was, where she could have been, that's a decision she was going to make with no hesitation.
Okay, so let's hold on, Mr. O. So cool. Let's say that's true. Let's go to, there's a museum in Montgomery, Alabama. It's by the EJOC. It's called the Lynching Museum. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of names on that museum of people who have been hung by a tree for being a certain skin tone or certain skin color. So what I'm saying to you is,
did they have any crime attached to their name, or did it just say like light skin nigga, dark skin nigga, mixed nigga? Like, no, seriously, did they have a crime attached to their name?
No,
none at all. Interesting.
No. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying to you is, Shorty made a whole song about a strange fruit. Like you acting like this stuff didn't happen and didn't transpire. Like people are just making this stuff up. Like, yo, so when this is to the argument about the equipment. So if this so-called equipment was so precious and so valuable, which you're calling people equipment, which should already let you know the problem that you have, right?
I'm not sensitive. That's my problem. Maybe I'm autistic or something.
Well, hold on, but it's not sensitivity to equate. It's not a matter of sensitivity. It's a matter of daggone psychosis to try to equate human beings to farm equipment. And that's
why can't
psychosis.
We do that from an abstract level? Like why can't we mentally on an abstract level? Like we're not literally turning people into hoes and cows.
I got you,
which would be cool if I had that power. But I'm just saying that in a mental level, why is it hard to like insert that reality into your?
Because Hood, the problem is Hood is a false equivalency, because again, you don't hang up or string up god doggone farm equipment. These people,
you repair it.
But they didn't. They were doing some of the most inhumane
equipment. Don't say I don't need no master.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, so there you have it. So you answered your own question. There you have
farm equipment. Don't never get strong and independent on you, bro.
Good. So there you have your own answer to your own question. So now you know that that's a false premise that nigga said. Thank you.
That's why I'm like, I don't know why you getting so fucking sensitive about the farm equipment thing when it's just like a shorthand. Like you're a bad person if you think of it as farm equipment. Like, bro. I
didn't say that.
Understand the framework that we're trying to use. Like,
and I'm saying, but you answered the whole bad guy. You answered now you've been sensitive by saying I'm calling you a bad guy, but you answered your own premise. You answered your own premise. Why was to the question that you like so much? Why would they damage their farm equipment? Well, what did you say? Conservative farm equipment don't be trying to get away from master farm equipment, right? Exactly. Thank you. Check and mate, my brother. Check and mate. Easy work.
Well, no, because now you have to have a conversation about people management. How do you get these niggas to behave? Seems like the white man has been trying to answer that question in this country for 400 years. How do you just get these niggas to just go to work and go home and not fuck nothing up?
You gotta offer them something, either offer them a chance of freedom or offer them like, if you don't do this work, it's gonna be a whole bunch of problems around here.
And that's the thing. No, and I'm being dead real. I was kind of being facetious, but it's a dead real scenario in that how are we not free? Because I know people today talk about this Black liberation, the Black struggle. I'm not free till all my people free. All this weird liberation language as if it's still 1850 something. And I don't understand what black people need to be free of, or what oppression that really is worth fighting so hard against right now. Like, there's an oppression we could fight, but you're gonna hate my answer if you ask me.
No, it's inside. I agree. Now, this is where we align 100%. But then when I say it, you'd be like, oh, well, you're romanticizing. I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, I believe the best help is at your own to risk. The cavalry ain't coming, and you better make up your mind and make a choice and go for what you know. Find some people that think like you, that you could build with, that you could cooperate with, and y'all go and get it. That's what I believe. So
oh, you think the white man coming? No, I was thinking about the international banking system.
Huh? I didn't say I said the cavalry.
Oh, see, no, yeah, I see. No, we ain't even on the same plane no more.
What are you talking about?
You trying to go like get the people together because, like, I don't know, is the white man a part of this equation?
It could be. If white people listen, I got white best friends that's cool as hell. Like,
I know, but we're talking about black people though, right? Like,
you just asked me was the white people on the equation. Listen, I can't speak for all black people. What I'm saying
is,
well,
that was the context of the question.
I know, but listen what I'm saying. You missing what I'm saying. You twisting it. What I'm telling you is I align on self-reliance and self. You know what I mean? Doing for self. So at the end of the day, I'm not thinking about no white man as a boogeyman or as a roadblock or as an obstacle to anything I have going on. And I think that the first thing that so-called black folks need to do is understand that you can make it. It's a mindset. It don't got nothing to do with nobody else. You better make up your mind. 2025, they just got strings around your ankles, not no damn chains. It's just a string. So it's a mental thing. Say what?
What's the nature of this string? And elaborate a little bit more about.
Okay, so you know the elephant trope, right? When a baby elephant in the circus, if they want to have elephants in the circus, what they do is when the elephant is a baby, they tie chains around that elephant's tight chains around the elephant's leg, right? Trunk, whatever the case may be. And so when the elephant is trying to break free because it's young, it has spirit, it has a lot of moxie, it's trying to break free, but it can't. And every time it tries to break free, that chain gets tied around that elephant's leg, so to speak, right? And so it's very painful. It's a very painful process. So eventually that young baby elephant gets broken down. And so mentally, it doesn't believe that it could get free. So then when the elephant gets big, they no longer have to have a chain around its ankle. They put a string around it. And it don't even have to be tied to anything a lot of times because that elephant is tied to its own slavery because of the memory of the so-called slavery.
Theoretically, not even theoretically, but in keeping with your own framework in this elephant metaphor here, who would be tying that rope into the ground and then nailing the rope into the ground and then then tying that elephant's leg to that spike in the ground? Who would actually be doing that? Because white people, because black people would be the elephant in this scenario. So who is actually tying that restrictive rope and who's putting it in the ground? Who's doing this thing?
Well, listen, it's a systematic thing. So at the end of the day, listen to what I'm saying. So I don't believe no one's holding you back now. And that's the point. They don't have to hold you. If you are trapped in your mind, they don't have to do anything to hold you back. You hold yourself back and give the circumstances opposition all your power. So if you get your mind right, you can get your life right, and you don't have to worry about any of that shit.
Are we saying, because all right, in this framework, elephant is black people. There's a rope around his ankle, and it's pinned. That rope is like stuck to a spike in the ground, so that the elephant can't leave. And then as the elephant grows up, the rope is no longer needed. I get it that the rope is no longer needed as you grow up, and so now you still keep within the perimeter of that rope because that's all you know how to do, or you've been trained to stay in that circle. I understand it perfectly, right? But what I'm asking is this: if you're going to tell me that it was the white man and it was slavery representing the initial rope, – and now that slavery is gone, the rope is gone, Do you suppose it is the white man or the black man that is constantly reminding you that you cannot do XYZ?
That's the point. Right. It's the black man that's constantly reminding you what you can do and what you can't do. But
Okay.
that's the whole point of it all.
That's the
It's
black man,
programming.
though?
It's,
Now, that's
pro,
the
it's
question.
hold on. It's programming, condition, and socialization. That's the whole point. But it's up to you to have self-determination and self-reliance to be able to, and self-sufficiency to get yourself out of that particular position, get your mind right, and get your life right.
Facts. I want to play something for you guys here. I had this queued up in the background. Let me just hit the button on that.
What is the blackout? It's not a culture war, it's a power grab. In less than a year, the Blackout Report has documented more than 15,700 attacks on Black progress, erasing data, banning books, slashing funding. And the goal is clear: erase the record, distort the evidence, suppress the dissent. Here's what erasure looks like. The Pentagon deleting Jackie Robinson's military page. 591 Black books banned in 2025. Entire museum exhibits on Black migration and diaspora shut down. This isn't just about the past, it's about erasing the future. Distortion means rewriting truth to warp reality. $9 million cut from sickle cell research. 42 million pulled from Black maternal health programs. More than 6,700 federal data sets erased, from health to housing to justice. Even Confederate names restored on U.S. bases. That's not coincidence, that's strategy. And
you know what I've been noticing? Watching a lot of these suburban radicals complain about this and that program getting cut, or with the the 300,000 Black women getting fired once they started trimming down government jobs, the Doge cuts and all that. And I think it kind of was stated plainly, and I've been talking about this a little bit lately. Black folk are way too tied to the federal government. And the employment, direct employment is one thing. And, the jobs are out there, and state government is a little bit different because those are a little bit more like regular actual jobs, like municipal services and whatnot. But like the federal government, and then the state does this too, but Black folk have carved out essentially a grifting industry in the government. And so when it comes to a lot of these programs, the maternal health, this and that, violence prevention, blah, 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 this is a lot of theft that's going on right here. There's a lot of grift, a lot of theft, a lot of hustling going on.
So social working is grifting. I agree. I just had to go ahead and find somebody else to actually articulate it for me. I mean, so social work, being a social worker,
definitely grifting.
Got you. I just can't articulate. You said it and broke it down for me just fine. And you are also right about these suburban Black radicals. The Junior Boule class. If Dirty Folks was up here, and
right.
Again. And if Dirty Folks is up here, the Black argument will only refer to these three classifications in the community: women, gays, and felons. So you could continue, Mr. Conservative.
And think about like what Trump is doing in certain areas, like trying to lower the violence, just bring some kind of stability to Black communities. And you see how it can be done if you're willing to apply the pressure to the problem. And when you look at these protests, it's mostly white people out there protesting. Not a lot of Black folk are really angry about this stuff. Only a handful.
Yeah, we're not outside doing jazz hands and doing the Charleston.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the things
they should be. If they were smarter, they'd be more upset. You know what I'm saying? I never was for the illegals being here, or I don't want the illegals to stay here. Right. That's one position. At the same time, like we said, it's a create a problem to solve the problem to get the end result. So at the end of the day, my thing is, I do not, and you disagreed with me, but I'm not giving up my civil liberties for you to address a problem that your colleagues created. No. At the end of the day, y'all figure that shit out without imposing upon me or treading upon me or treading upon my people. You go ahead and y'all get that shit together, because we already from here. We already been here. We already doing our thing here. So get them out of here and leave me the F out of it. So period. Like, I'm not willing to give up anything for you to do that, because that's a problem your constituents and your colleagues created.
Well, these are two levels of problem here. So, like, one, there's the illegal immigrant thing, which we can bring that back in a sec. But the point I was trying to raise is that when it comes to like just black people and the crime in their communities, a lot of these cities like DC, Philly, Memphis, where just shootings and violent assaults and all that kind of stuff happening. I'm arguing that the black leadership doesn't invest in actually properly managing these cities because they make money from managing the chaos. They make money from people needing social workers. They make money from people having chaotic family lives. They make money from the disintegration of the black family unit. And so I'm arguing like it's a problem that they can't fix because you make money from it.
Oh yeah, police get overtime. Judges get more case loads every week, bringing up their quotas and whatnot. Yeah, it's a whole entire industry to make sure the black man and the black woman cause chaos and calamity in the democratic-led cities, such as my city, Chicago.
Yeah, that's a big business. That's big business. I agree 100,000%. Big business that so-called black people are in to keep other black people disenfranchised, and so that they can profit off of them. It's the biggest grift ever. I agree 1,000% with that.
Now, we can come back to the illegal immigrant thing in a minute.
Suppression hits closest to home. 306,000 black jobs lost while national employment stayed flat. More than $3.4 billion in grants cut for health, education, and opportunity. Nearly $250 million stripped from HBCUs and scholarships. Whole neighborhoods left without protection from floods, asthma, or poison water. The harm is real. Black workers pushed out. Black mothers and fathers denied healthcare. Children denied their history. But the Blackout Report is also proof. Proof that when we shine a light, we can't be silenced. Because Black history is American history, because Black progress is American progress, and because protecting it means protecting the future itself. Read the full Blackout Report now by clicking the link in my bio. Healing starts with knowing. Follow for more.
It's everywhere, bro.
I finally put things together. I feel like these suburban blacks that still want to keep the so-called struggle alive, they kind of got out of touch around the 1970s, 1980s. The one that was just on the screen, he represents like the third generation of this kind of action. Like, he gets it, but at the same time, he's like, damn, these niggas really still can't get right, man. What the hell is wrong with them? I'm getting them vibes.
But they profit. But this is the thing, like they said, they profit from it. They seen Ben Crump and Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson getting fat and getting skinny to say, I don't know what's up. Shout out Al Sharpton.
And Ozempic, bro. He had to go.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy.
Hey man, look, he
crazy.
But bro, the macaroni cheese, the fried chicken was gonna kill him, bro, and the processed hair, bro. You see,
but he looked crazy skinny. But the point that I'm making is that these people have been profiting. They this is how a lot of so-called black people are. When they see a wave, it take a little while, but when they see a wave, they try to jump on the wave and they try to profit off the wave, right? Even though a lot of times they're too late. So there's a lot of people who understand two things. Number one, there's a group of people who understand if you talk shit about so-called black people and you disrespect so-called black people, there's going to be a lot of conservative money that's going to come your way and you're going to profit. There's also the people that understand that if you pander to so-called black people, especially black women, that you're going to make a tremendous amount of money from that aspect as well, and you're going to profit off of their ignorance and off of their desire to be treated like they're already being treated. It's the freaking Wizard of Oz. They already got a heart, they already got a brain, they already got the courage, but they are just too stupid to see it. They need a white man behind a curtain to tell them.
Let me ask you this: why do people keep assuming or speaking as if the money machine for black people on the right is anywhere near as big or as wide or as deep as the money machine for black people on the left? Like, you're literally in the government already.
Because we see, but fam, come on, man, we see it, bro. The Officer Tatums, the Hodge twins, the anybody else, we see it, bro. We understand. Like, if you're a thinking person, then think the grift is real on both sides of the spectrum. Like, to lie and make it seem like that's not a grift as well, that the Charleston White angle is not a grift as well. well. Like, come on, fam, it's a grift, and people are getting heavily paid on both sides.
How
For
is it
for whatever reason, people love extremities. People love the extremes, and
how
that's
is it
where
a
the money
grift?
is at: extreme one way or extreme the other way.
How is it a grift when Clarence Thomas almost had his life ruined just being put up to be nominated for the Supreme Court? It's not the same thing on the left versus the right. When you're a black person and you're left wing, so many doors of money open up for you. Like we were just literally talking about how they have all these government programs that you get access to. You want to run and manage this shit. You don't have that when you're on the right wing.
So that's a lie. And the truth of the matter is things change. And what you're either purposely or intentionally doing is being very deceptive. Because let me tell you why. Clarence Thomas was what in the late 80s, early 90s, got elected. 90s, early 90s, right? Got elected to be Supreme Court justice, right? However, that was a total different time. So-called LBGQ plus, they wasn't able to do none of the shit that they're doing now. Women, especially our women, wasn't doing none of the shit that they do now. Things change. What happens is we do overcorrections, and there has been an overcorrection where we see that the daggone so-called Democrats, the liberals, are leading us to hell with gasoline draws on a freaking rocket ship. So a lot of people, because they don't have the ability to think for themselves, they automatically just jump to the opposition side, to the other side, and say, well, if this part was bad, then the other part got to be good. And so they equate that with denoting and demonizing so-called blackness, and they pay good money to these Negroes tap dancing and talking disparagingly about people that look like them. Let's don't lie. Both is some bullshit. Let's don't lie.
How much money did Kamala pay Meg Thee Stallion to twerk for her campaign?
I don't know, because I wasn't because Kamala.
Where's the right wing equivalent of that?
Hold on, yo, fam. Excuse me. I just gave you the YouTube equivalents of those things. At the end of the day, she didn't win. Yo, fam, did she win? No, she didn't win. And I'm glad she didn't.
We're only counting money though. We're just talking about where the money is, right?
Yo, I don't think she even paid him. Wasn't she like $40 million in debt? Didn't she have a $40 million debt at the end of her campaign?
No, well, that's different. But I'm saying she paid Meg Thee Stallion whatever she paid her. She paid her millions of dollars to show up. Yes.
Did she get paid? I don't know. Because how you get $40 million in debt if you paid?
Because you didn't pay other people. You probably pocketed a lot of money. That's
okay, but she paid Megan. Okay, how you know?
Right. Black girl magic.
Listen, but I don't believe in none of that shit. Your facts is backwards. Like, yo, I can't stand freaking that woman that you're talking about, and I don't adhere or agree with none of the shit that she's talking about. Now, I'm saying,
the money is way deeper on the left
when
you're black.
You're talking about a particular person paying another particular person, right? Instead of talking about a group of people that's grifting off of the backs of people that look like them, one way or the other, and both ways are wrong. So let's talk about that.
You can't compare the grift, and that's literally what we've been talking about. I'm just pointing out to you that the charge of grift literally belongs to the Meg Thee Stallions who twerk for Kamala Harris, the people who put together the get your booty to the poll campaign, right? No voting, no vucking. Don't you fucking talk to me about right-wing grifters, bro.
And listen, but at the end of the day, I would have to be a left-leaning person for you to even get any of that shit off, and I'm not. Anybody that knows anything about me, I have spoken adamantly against them and what they stand for and what they speak about, because I believe
about the money. Stay
right. But you just
that's the money, bro. That's the money. The money is over there. That's where the money is. That's who's getting the money.
You're lying right now. Why are you lying?
How is it a lie when we all know
money? So wait a minute. So let me ask you a question. So what your premise is that most of the so-called billionaires, movers and shakers, captains of industry are liberal?
At this point, yes, bro.
You're a liar for the pits of hell.
Listen. Every year up until this last year, every year has been gay pride on a corporate level. You understand what corporate gay pride means? It means every business under your business has to do the gay shit you tell them to do. That's what people are complaining about with BlackRock. They have this ESG score. BlackRock is a mega company because they own a lot of companies, and those companies in turn own a lot of companies further down the line. And so now BlackRock is sitting at the top of a pyramid of companies, and they say, you know what? It's gay month, and we don't care if you shake your tallywhacker in front of children in public this month, right?
And why do you think that is?
The
And why do you think
left-wing
that
culture, the money,
No.
it is so heavily sponsored by the corporate interest, and they already have access to the government power because the liberals have been running the government for
Let me
40
ask you a
years
question.
now.
That guy that allegedly deleted himself in jail, right? The Ep guy, right?
Epstein, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, that guy, right? Do you think he was a liberal or conservative?
Oh, he was definitely on the left. He had right-wing connections, but he was way
Come
more liberal than
on, man. Yeah, if you believe that, then see, listen, if you believe the people on the higher up scale of things are liberal in their voting, then you are very confused. Like at the end of the day, power elite, right? If you're trying to control something, yes, you put all kinds of roadblocks, obstacles, and foolishness and debauchery in people's way. At the end of the day, you yourself don't adhere to none of that. You acting like they eating fucking oodles and noodles and they goddamn drinking quarter waters too. They are not.
He wasn't a DNC donor.
They are not. Yo, fam, so was President Trump. So was President Trump. Now what? President Trump supported the DNC for decades, bro. Now what?
But now Trump is about to be a right-wing thing.
Izzy.
Exactly my point.
You guys know,
you
guys know that they put out a list of donors that you can actually go and see and not argue what you think. They actually put it out who donates to what and which party.
That's the thing.
Hold on. They put the list out, right? They put the list out, and the reality that Izzy doesn't want to accept is that they mostly support Democrats.
Yo, and
now hold on. Let me finish. Now I understand it's hard for Black people to accept certain realities because the Democrat is like mommy to them, so like we got to deny all of that because it's mommy and never say any bad words about mommy. But the list is for people to see. You can see it.
But
and they do donate toward, and they do mostly donate to the Democrat Party.
And that's what I just said. So congratulations for saying what I just said. I just said that the power elites may put their money in certain places in order to continue to have control. They put debaucherous shit. They buy. Yo, you talking about people who will buy a fat farm to put that shit on the shelf for billions. They buy a fat farm for billions of dollars to put that shit on the shelf. So it doesn't surprise me that they would put their money into whatever promotes debauchery, whatever promotes god doggone confusion, whatever promotes keeping people separate. It doesn't surprise me at all. What I'm saying to you is that the people who spend the most, that have the most money to spend, the people who are on control or on top are usually right-wing people, are usually conservative people.
Incorrect. Let me explain why it's incorrect. Let me explain why. When you're talking about debauchery being paid for by rich people, which I would agree to some degree, and we're talking about corporate interest, and all the corporate interests went very rainbow for the last few years, right? That is corporate money, big multinational billion and trillion dollar corporations putting money into promoting debauchery, literally, right? And they are all heavily Democrat donors because debauchery is a Democrat social platform. I don't think you understand what you said when you brought up debauchery. Debauchery is typically defined as everything that the Democrats do during Pride Month. That is a very left-wing issue. And now I want you to understand that there is no right-wing George Soros who literally buys and sets up corporations and NGOs for the purpose of promoting further debauchery. There's nothing like that on the left. And then, on the right further. And then when you talk about, because it started out by calling the right-wing guys grifters, as in they're getting paid to criticize Black America. It is Black America who is victims of that same corporate sponsored debauchery. The rap industry, the R&B industry, all of our entertainment culture is basically fighting and fucking and looking good on the gram. This is sponsored by corporate money. This is corporate sponsored debauchery. And when right-wing black people, black men speak against that, there isn't a lot of money in that. You're doing it from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that's well, you need to get your coin because that's not true. There's a whole bunch of money in it. That's not true at all. You better look around. You better pay attention. There's a whole lot of money in speaking against people that look like you, point blank and period. And yo, listen, again, y'all keep trying to put me in a left-leaning position, and I'm not. I don't agree with none of the shit that they be talking about. And I've said it time and no, I'm not. What I'm arguing is that both. I'm arguing that people on the left and people on the right both are grifting our people. It's extremes. That both of the extremes are grifting the people. That's what I'm saying. To be clear, I don't. If I had to identify between right or left, I would be more right leaning than left leaning all day, every day, because I believe a lot of those left leaning principles are hellacious shit. It's devilish. It's demonic.
So why aren't you getting grift money?
Yo, because that goes against my principles, bro. I'm not gonna lean up because I don't believe in neither one of them shit. I don't believe in the left or the right.
Has anybody offered you grift money?
No, because I don't speak in that way. No, I don't speak in that way. But best believe the people that do get a lot more money than I do off this platform.
Period. I mean, a handful of people do that, but I think even when it comes to YouTube and platforms like YouTube, you're more likely to get demonetized by being right wing, bro. Like the money just ain't there like you saying it is. Okay. I'm demonetized. I had to fight to get monetized on my other channel. I just got flagged. I just got flagged for hate speech because a video I played, and the video was probably, that black dude talking about babies and shit, like
Chris and Gravy, huh? That
right, like. Well, no, it wasn't even him. It was the other dude. But like, I'm just saying, when you get on the left wing, you can literally write books about white people being racist and evil and all this essentially blood libel against white people. And those books will be bestsellers. And you can get on TV and talk about the year 1619. And everybody will pretend you're a genius. We got Ketanji Brown Jackson, don't know how to define a woman, embarrassing herself on the Supreme Court, comparing black people to handicapped people. Bro, that's how powerful and how deep the left wing grift is. You can grift all the way up to the Supreme Court. You can grift all the way up into the White House and be next to Joe Biden for 4 years.
Too, so she got a good solid deal.
Dear white people, don't tell me about a right wing grift, bro. The left wing grift is so deep, you don't even know it's the air you breathe.
So I asked ChatGPT, out of there's approximately there is approximately 1,135 billionaires in the United States, right? So I asked ChatGPT. They said there's roughly 900 to 1,100 billionaires in the United States. For instance, one recent estimated lists about 1,135 billionaires. Billionaires tend to give more political contributions to Republicans than Democrats overall, though Democrats do receive high-profile billionaire support too. The data on personal party registration or consistent partisan affiliation of billionaires is incomplete and not systematically tracked in a way that supports a clear numeric breakdown. But they would say that they give more to the Republicans than to the Democrats.
Read carefully. ChatGPT just eloquently walked you into a dead-end argument. That's not really a sufficient argument for either side of us, so let's not really use that. It just said the numbers are incomplete. They're giving you a rough estimate.
No, but what I asked, what they said. Hold on, what they said was incomplete because the question I asked, I said, out of the 1,100 billionaires, how many are Democrats and how many are Republicans? That's what I asked them. But then they broke it down and they said, well, most of the billionaires, they do support financially the Republicans, which was what I wanted to get at anyway. But there is a large support for Democrats as well, but they mostly support Republicans. And that's what I know to be true.
Type this in while you got Chat GPT up. Who gets more corporate money, Democrats or Republicans? Who has more corporate donors, Democrats or Republicans? Who gets the bigger donors from corporations? I don't know this to be true. I don't know the answer to this. I'm suspecting, obviously, it's going in my direction. But since you got Chat GPT up, let's see what it says.
And listen, again, I'm not. So let me ask you a question.
I
I'm
mean,
typing it in, but let me ask you a question. The question I have for you, Hood, is this: do you believe that there's right-wing people who would vote or who would put their money behind things that would make them money, but that would be against their political affiliation?
Sometimes, probably, yeah.
Just sometimes.
I mean, because $40 is $40. Like sometimes people will do that.
Right, but you think it's sometimes, or do you think that for a lot of people,
you can't quantify it? So I think for you to go off on that direction, you're going into a weak argument. I acknowledge that some people will do that, but if you want to go beyond that, you have to be a lot more specific than you're trying to be right now.
Protect mommy Democrat.
it's not, fam. Y'all are insane if you think that I don't vote Democrat. Never. I'm not.
I know. Hold on. Here's the thing. I hear a lot of black men say they're not Democrat. They're not any this. They're not that. But they usually have the same leaning towards mommy Democrat. And if they have any criticism, it's never for Democrats, and they're usually making excuses. So I hear you, right? So I hear you, right? And I accept. Right, I hear you, and I accept you saying you're not a Democrat, which that is new. All of a sudden, black men aren't Democrats when the shit goes downhill.
See, this is what I'm saying. I can't stand. Listen, all of this, and then you'll follow it up. But I'm not talking about you. Like, get out of here, yo. Like, at the end of the day, I'm on record 3 years strong, being on YouTube, and I've never affiliated myself with any Democratic nothing. I'm on record. You could go time after time after time. As a matter of fact, I was roasting Kamala, whatever the hell you want to call her. I was roasting those two. I don't agree with none of that shit.
Don't you talk about that black woman?
Man, stop it.
She's a good black woman.
Man,
don't you talk about her.
Man,
all right?
Stop it. Man,
my mama black, your mama black, she black. Don't talk about that black
woman. Speaking of Kamala, right? There's another thing to kind of refute your argument that there's like some type of deep money, because I mean, people do make money. If you're good at it and you find your niche, you can make money doing it, right? So like Anthony Brian Logan has found his niche. He makes money. Officer Tatum, he found his niche.
I got the answer for you though. I apologize. So you said who gets more corporate donors, Democrats or Republicans, right? It said according to publicly available data, corporate donors and business-linked political action committees (PACs) tend to give more to the Republican National Committee, Republican side, than to the Democratic National Committee. Though the split is not overwhelmingly lopsided, it varies by election cycle and sector. But they would have to say that it gives more to Republicans than to Democrats.
All right.
But it also said that it varies by election cycles.
Yes,
yeah, and that's what. And salute everybody. I'm glad that y'all are done with the slave talk. God damn. But that's what I came up here to ultimately say. The wealthy people up top are apolitical. They give money to whatever pushes their agenda, and it has nothing to do with politics. Typically, conservative policies help people grow their wealth, and liberal policies help them keep their wealth.
Exactly.
And that's how they give their money.
That money,
and that's why it looks like that. Because even right now as we speak, those same people that gave to Democrats last cycle that were keeping their wealth, they are shifting their money to conservativeness, which is allowing the wealth gap to actually expand even more than it did during Biden's presidency. That is what is happening. So it's not even about politics. It's about using the ideology to get to a particular goal.
Right.
And so I think people are like, it's profit.
Right. And that's what I was trying to explain. But you did a much. Hey, shout out to you, Free Zone Lou. You was much more eloquent with it. But that's what I was trying to explain. It's not about politics. It's about profit. Because Donald Trump, like I said, supported Democrats for years and years, decades. You know what I'm saying? Decades. So it's about profits. It's not about politics. Shout out to you, man.
Donald Trump is still a Democrat. If you look at his policies, those were Democrat policies 20 years ago, before they went completely radical.
But to say that he's still a Democrat
He
now,
he is.
You think so? Right now?
Just because he goes under a different label doesn't mean he's still a Democrat. But he's your old school Democrat. He's what Democrats used to be 30 years ago. Right? See, here's the thing. Remember, what the Democrats have done is they've told everyone that if you don't completely align with them, you're far right. Right? Joe Rogan, all of a sudden, he's far right. Right? And if you listen to Joe Rogan, he's the most milquetoast guy you'll ever listen to. Right? So like that. So yes, Donald Trump is still a Democrat. Look at his policies. He's still a Democrat. Even if you listen to the way Donald Trump talks, he don't talk like no right-wing extremist like y'all try to paint him out to be. He talks like a Democrat from 30 years ago.
Well, listen, y'all, it's not y'all. Y'all gotta stop with this, y'all. I don't not paint him out to be nothing. Like, so y'all gotta stop this, y'all. Please. It's very offensive to put somebody in a category, in a box that they don't fit in, nor do they subscribe to. You know what I'm saying? And I know you might not listen to me, but yo, fam, I'm not subscribing to none of that stuff. Like, I don't know. It ain't cool at all. But but the argument is that we was having was, and I'm sorry, Freeze on Lou, but for Hood to say that slavery wasn't wrong is crazy as hell. That doesn't make sense. Slavery in America,
slave talk.
Nah, that's what it started from, and that was my only contention, because the truth is I was sitting there laughing my ass off and enjoying most of Hood's commentary until he said that, and then the record just stopped. It's like, what the. You know what I'm saying?
So I got a question.
I agree.
Okay. So listen, right? And this is the thing that I think a lot of just people in general can't accept, right? Slavery is what it is. It was a thing. It's still a thing now, but no one talks about the slavery still going on in other countries. It was a thing, right? And to be honest, to say it was wrong, right? Like, yes, it should be said because it sounds good, but it was the thing of that time. It was legal. So was it really wrong? I mean, yes, some can argue no.
Yes.
So here's the thing. So, hold on. No, but some can argue no because it was the thing of that time, and so you just have to accept what it was. That's it.
That sounds.
You don't have to get up in arms. And how does that sound crazy?
It
that's
sounds
logical.
Absolutely no. It's not logical. It sounds absolutely.
Hey, based on that, because based on that logic, abortion is the thing of this time, and it's legal. Is it wrong?
Yes.
Hold on. No. Here's the thing. No, we have to accept it, right? It is a thing. We have to accept it, right?
No.
I'm perfectly. I mean, you don't have to accept it, but even if I bought that premise, is it wrong though?
Yes.
It's the thing of this time.
Come on, man. That's
okay. I'll meet you halfway there. Then.
No,
it's the thing of this time, man.
I cannot. Yo, let me tell you.
You don't have
go ahead, Izzy.
We can disagree.
Hold on, Free Zone.
We can disagree. It's fine.
Okay, cool. But let me tell you why I think that's a nonsensical statement. Let me just tell you why. So at the end of the day, right? We all know that laws change. We all know that laws. It's all right to marry a man, or for a woman to marry a woman now. That's right. We know that, but we all know that throughout the annals of history, or throughout the annals of the world, that was said to be wrong. We all know that it's said in any religious whatever. And I know a lot of y'all don't have no kind of belief in God. And I'm not saying that you do or don't, because I don't know. But a lot of people don't nowadays. But we all know that any religious text, it says that deletion of any kind is wrong, unless in some religious sects say only if you're defending yourself is right. So at the end of the day, we know that deletion is wrong. We know that same sex situations are wrong historically through religious practice. We know that stealing is wrong. We know that lying is wrong. We know that those things are wrong, right? So because the law says that it's all right, and this was the argument that Katz was having that I really don't want to relitigate, but they're talking about if they lowered the age of consent to be with a young woman, would you do it? Yo, that's crazy, because we know that being with a child is wrong. If you're an adult, a grown ass man, that's wrong.
Jesus Christ. I'm glad I was nowhere near that conversation.
I'm like, bro,
my bad. My fault.
It's like virtue signaling shit. Like, we need not bring that up. Like, all I'm saying,
my bad. Because this nigga get on my nerves, man. What are you talking about? Get on my nerves, man. My fault.
You didn't have to do that, but anyway.
That's that time I'm glad I was with my family during that time. Like, damn.
Hey, yo, if you ever
shout out to family, man.
Hey, hold on. If you ever want to know how to get a nigga up off you, that's how you do that shit. Point blank.
But I want to address what's on the screen real quick. Freeman's Journal says black people try to moralizing everything to be a victim, to be a victim, and B, to have social leverage. And I think those two things are A and B together. Like, being a victim is the social leverage, and you need the slavery narrative to be the perpetual victim. And so when we come to this point of like black people talking about the morality of it, I think black folk aren't really accustomed to having deep philosophical conversations about morality and historical context and all that. And so it's very easy to get caught up in the shame language of slavery and the moralizing of it all, and stand on the social capital that you can gain from that. But when I present to you earlier my actual argumentation about why slavery wasn't wrong, and I laid out a simple proposition for you. How do you think it started? It was literally, we used to kill everybody, and now maybe we decide it's better to not kill everybody. Is that wrong?
But you know that's an oversimplification and not an accurate depiction of what actually was occurring in America.
Well, I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about slavery, though. You're talking about America. Let's stop. You see, you just did what Freeman was talking about on the screen. We're not talking about America.
But
we're talking about slavery. Slavery exists outside of black people.
Yo, but the problem is the type of slavery that existed in America was unlike most of the slavery around the world. That's the issue.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about slavery. We're not talking about you. You see what I mean? You want to put you in the heart of it, and it's not about you. It's about,
that was the original premise. Now you're trying to change the premise. Now you're trying to change the premise. Come on, fam. No,
the premise was literally, is slavery wrong, right? And so now you want to make it about American slavery.
No. So let me give you
about slavery. I'm not even boiling it down to America.
So it depends
about the very concept of slavery.
Okay, I got you. So it depends on the type of slavery. If you're just talking about people not being deleted and moving and working for free, not necessarily. That's not necessarily wrong. If you just take it to that standpoint, that's not necessarily wrong.
Okay, how about this?
How about that?
If a person commits crimes, he harms a bunch of people in the community. He murders, he sexually assaults, and he stole a lollipop from a baby. And the state says, I'm going to make you a slave for the rest of your life. Is that wrong?
I think so, yes.
So you don't believe people should be put in jail for the rest of their life for crimes that they commit?
No, I don't.
Okay. That is the slavery that we practice as an official sanctioned policy in America.
I understand that, but I don't adhere or agree to that necessarily.
Lastly, the country of Liberia, black folk decided we didn't like it here in America, and we were going to go back to Africa, and we were going to start a Black America in Africa. And you know what they had to find out when they got to Africa? It was full of Africans. I know, right? Crazy to think, right? They got to Africa and it was full of Africans. And you know what they did when they got to Africa and Africa was full of Africans? They put the Africans to work. They made them work, and they built Liberia. Were they wrong?
I don't even know what. Yeah, they were wrong. What the freak? If by your premise, like, yo, what? Yo, yeah, they were wrong, bro. You said put them to work. What's the context? I put them to work for free by under the gun. Is that what you're speaking of?
They enslaved the natives and they made them work until they built a functional little economic system, and then they had a country eventually called Liberia.
Yeah, I gotta do more research on that, but that sounds wrong. Sounds bad.
I wish I could fix Haiti, but I mean, Haiti needs a lot more white people than anybody's going to be tolerating of. I mean, listen, you want to fix Haiti, you're going to have
that's
a lot of white
hilarious.
people.
Yo, that's hilarious. Yo, that is hilarious.
I mean, you don't need, the one thing they don't need is more Haitians.
Yo, that's crazy. Oh my God, bro.
I just here's my thing with the history and slave conversation. And now, Izzy, we had a conversation, what was it, yesterday, about history and all that stuff, and it was a pretty productive, fruitful conversation, right? So I'm not really talking about that. It's more in reference to the clip you played earlier when you were going back and forth with Illa. I hate niggas like Illa, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they think that they have like some moral superiority over everybody else because they know more history than everybody. When all that shit is already come and gone, like that shit has already happened. Every time niggas like that hit the panel, they always swing it to, regardless of what the discussion is, they swing it to Black history, and then you end up in this little fruitless space where you're doing this ego thing because you think you better than everybody because you know more history. When a lot of that shit don't even have the slavery and all that shit, that ain't got shit to do with today, bro. It don't. All these Black kids that can't read, that has nothing to do with slavery. 2000, what was it? HBCUs a couple weeks ago, 2,000 shots let off over 48 hours. What the fuck slavery got to do with that? And they try to pin everything on history, and it's just fucking annoying, bro. Like I am done with the Black history conversation in these spaces because they don't get nowhere. Now I can have a couple of them. I had one with I've had a couple with Stanley, but by and large, they just talk all this shit and it don't go nowhere for the sake of acknowledgement. And all of that acknowledgement don't help the kids read more, don't make the kids smarter. All this idea that if the reason why these kids don't know what they don't have skill sets and stuff is because they don't know their history. It's bullshit. I learned, practically speaking, I learned skill sets that made me succeed way before I learned the history that we're discussing now. They're not connected. Practically speaking, they're not connected. Now you can make the connection, but you're reaching back into the DeLorean to make that connection, and that's why it comes off as victimhood, because they're having these Black history conversations, just trying to pin their losses on everybody else but them, and we're in 2025. All that shit ain't got shit to do with the issues you got going on now. It don't. Now we could talk Jim Crow, we could talk all that shit, and even then, you still have to practically do something that doesn't really have much to do with history. That's why I can't stand the conversation. It's just a bunch of victim loser ass talk. That's how I feel for most people.
I noticed too.
Hold on, let me say this one thing, and I'm gonna give it back to the floor. It's history as religion, bro. No, it's religion as history, rather.
Right. And I'm not against the history. We should know history, but the way that the history is weaponized nowadays, it just turns into this fruitless conversation of back and forth. You know, where do we come from? All this other stuff. It's like, I don't know how to put it into words because it's so fucking frustrating to hear, but it's like, who gives a fuck at this point?
But this is the problem.
You know, something else I noticed too, Free Zone, is that these people leave out large parts of Black history. Like they go from slavery to Jim Crow, and they leave out everything in between there.
Me and Iz was talking about that yesterday. We cooked on that yesterday. Absolutely. Go ahead, Iz. You got it, bro.
Nah, the brother's talking. Go ahead. He keeps cutting me off. Go ahead. Finish your statement, bro.
I mean, I'm not trying to cut you off on purpose. Don't take it personal. Just everyone's trying to speak.
You got it. Go ahead, bro.
But now that's that's basically what I just wanted to add on to what Freezone was saying, is that every time these people get to talking about history, they seem to only get certain parts and then just start crying about it and ignore everything else. But anyway, go ahead, Izzy.
No, but and listen, and I agree with y'all, right? And like I said, Hood, you're real familiar because you always say I'm romanticized or fantastical about.
Yeah, you keep mangling my
wait,
word.
hold on, real quick. My self sufficient approach and making and being responsible for your own life and for your own destiny, right? I'm heavy on that. So I agree with you, Freezone, in that regard. The problem that I have is we need both, right? And I guess I'm more in the middle of all of this, right? And I noticed that I'm not as extreme as any of y'all, most of y'all, right? I'm in the middle. We need both. We have to have both. If we don't have both, then we are missing something. We are the only people do not go off the. Hold on, can I finish my statement, please, bro?
Yeah. Sorry, you got it.
We're the only people that don't build off of what our predecessors did. We're the only people that have to continue to start all over, and then we wonder why we're at the bottom. If you got to continue to start all over, you're always going to be at the bottom. But if you're able to build on something and build a foundation upon what your people built and build on that, then you have legacy. Then you have something that you could stand proud on. Then you have something you could point back to. So I agree with a large percentage of what you're saying, Freezone, but I just don't think. And I know you're talking about the way that people bring up their history, but
I'm not saying throw the history away. I'm literally talking about the way that people have these conversations about history. That's
understood. But I think a lot of times people confuse that with throwing it away. You see what I'm saying? I'm done.
Well,
I could understand that.
It is. I think again, one, it's not really about you. You're just kind of here having this conversation in this moment, but you are not what we are up against, right? What we are up against can be a lot more easily characterized by the image on your screen right now. When I say blinded by the white, and this guy is looking at a tweet that says all the problems in your life is because of white people. People literally feel and believe this. And they operate based on that, and they talk history based on that. They interpret and then deliver history based on that. That is what we are up against, and it's not necessarily you, because you're not even really on the far side of any kind of like liberalism or extremity or anything like that. But a lot of Black America really is. They own it like that, and so like when I bring up earlier. As an example, because I think who was that? Art and Style in the chat. He asked for an example, and I was playing the clip from the conversation I was having earlier up on DJ Witch Doctors a couple days ago.
That's the biggest vacation that you get, or best place that you ever can be.
You should have for that question. That question was bullshit because Hood Servitor even agreed that history should be taught in public education. So if he agreed that history should be taught in school, then Hood Servitor, what do you think that Black people will get from learning history? Since you do agree that it should be taught in school.
A lot of the stuff that I'm pointing out and the shit that I'm against is like what I was calling originally the mythology of it all, right? Like the pyramid stuff and whether or not Mansa Musa did anything for your Black ass. Like niggas believe in a lot of stuff that don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, but you don't understand a lot of stuff. Like you don't understand it, you minimize it to people who do understand it. You tell them yourself.
When we mentioned that lady earlier who was a part of the team that built the internet, I think there are a bunch of Black people, so many niggas in American history. No, wait a minute, I'm answering that question. I think there are a lot of Black people worthy of being propped up and promoted and talked about. Niggas don't care about that because those Black folk wasn't worried about fighting.
Wait, Hood. They all do. Hood, but I'm asking about you, Hood. Hood, I'm asking about you, Hood, not what other niggas think.
You asked me about you. my brother.
No, wait. I'm asking you, Hood. Slow down for a minute, bro. Just slow down. No, I'm not asking you about Black history. I'm asking you, in your opinion, since you agree that history should be taught in school, I'm asking you, what do you think people will get from learning history in school? The proper way, like you say, none of the lies, none of the bullshit, none of the fluff.
Okay.
Just the truth about history. What do you think, in your opinion, that people will get from learning that? Since you do agree it should be taught in school.
The simplest answer is 2 words: identity and inspiration.
Okay, so then why would you ask us the question, what the fuck would we think about people learning about pyramids and shit?
That's why.
I got a question for the whole panel.
Exactly why.
I have a question to the panel. Can I ask the panel a question?
You want to be proud of your knowledge about dumb shit.
Can I ask the panel a question?
Yeah, you got it.
This will cut a lot of time out for me.
I just don't understand, why can't it be all of it? Why can't they be this, the Muslim, the Judaism? Why can't it be all of it? Why does it have to be a separation? Why can't we have been all of it? Like,
and that's the problem. Why can't it be everything? Black folk are on this weird quest for identity, and it's kind of just taking people in the wildest directions. And listen, maybe the simplest identity is just the one that everybody's running from: transatlantic slavery. You know, we had to fight for our freedom and all that, whatever, right? But we're here now. I don't necessarily understand the value of having these conversations indefinitely. And then another thing, I say this, to be an ass, but I think there's a relative truth in that. There is no practical knowledge in the ethnic studies department, meaning you're not going to learn to build a house, build a car, build a spaceship, build anything. But you will learn how to teach Black people to be miserable and unproductive.
Hood, yo, this is yo, man, listen. Yo, a lot of shit that you say, right? I agree with and I find entertaining and funny, right? Because like you said, and you've identified it. I see that a lot of things we're a lot alike on, right? The problem that I have is when you go to these extreme measures, yo, there are literally people running around talking about Black people haven't created anything. There's literally people running around saying Black people haven't invented anything. There's literally people running around saying Black people ain't shit and never been shit and never gonna be shit. So and the fact that we ignore that and act like, yo, that's not a heavy part of what's going on in America today, heavy. And that doesn't have an implication on lesser minds or more impressionable minds is negligible and criminal, fam. This is the problem that I have. Like, yo, if what you're saying a lot of times be true, the problem is the lack of identification with people that are not as equipped as you to deal with this shit have to face. And so you cannot build a house on a rocky foundation. You can't build it on the sand. So if you sit in there,
arguing that people have to deal with? I'm sorry, I have to cut you off because you're saying that are people who are less equipped to deal with it than
younger so-called Black people.
People are dealing with that is so traumatic that somehow I am immune to. Like somehow I got the anti-nigga gene. What do you mean?
Come on, man. But see, now come on, man. Now,
I'm being funny, but like, what are you trying to tell me, bro? Because you said funny shit.
So this is the thing. If you grew up in the time where all you've heard was Black people haven't created anything, Black people ain't this, Black people ain't that, they're never gonna be this, they're never gonna be that, and they're inferior some type of way to white people just because of the color of their skin, you don't think that has an impact on impressionable minds, people who are not as learned as you, people who have not experienced the things as you've experienced to know better? You don't think that that's a problem?
I don't know that it is the problem. I'm sure that
I said you don't think it is a problem. I didn't say the problem. I said a problem.
For the people who've experienced it, I'm sure it was a problem for them at some point. I think it's a minority experience in the extreme.
Are you crazy as hell? Yo, fam, There are literally people who believe that white people are superior to so-called black people because of the color of their skin. Just because they were born white, they're somehow superior to anybody and everybody else. There's literally people who believe that dumb shit. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to create anything. They didn't have to invent anything. They didn't have to be a person of substance. They didn't have to have any type of intellect. They were just born Caucasian and automatically they're superior. Come on, fam. Like, this is literally a mindset of people today. And I think what you're seeing is, again, you're seeing people who are pushing back against that thought, but they're not understanding that there's balance and there's nuance to the conversation. And I don't think that certain people help.
I don't think I'm afraid of nuance. It's an interesting charge to put on me. Black folk desperately want an ego boost, which is understandable. But I think the path to ego boost, the proper path to an ego boost, is achievement. It's not historical grandstanding about a pyramid that nobody knows how to build anymore, or an ancient tribe that doesn't matter anymore, or stories about the creation of the white man. And we somehow, let me ask you this question, Easy, because what is the genetic evidence that tells you black people are indigenous to this landmass? We're not native, like you said. You separated from the Native Americans. There is an evidentiary trail that allows people to make that claim. There's a little bit of DNA evidence that allows people to make that claim. When you make that claim about being an indigenous, what are you standing on in terms of hardcore scientific evidence?
Well, see, okay. So again, it would have to be anecdotal. Is that fine?
Okay, well, as long as we both accept that it's anecdotal, because now you can go wherever you want with that.
Yes, it's anecdotal, and for me personally, why I say what I'm saying, because I'm speaking about me and mine. Is that fair enough? So basically, I've had conversations with the elders in my family years and years, like 30, 40 years ago, right? And they told me that when I ask about my great-great-grandfather and them of the sort, to my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my great-grandfather, they told me that the people were already here. There's no trace of any African in my family as far back as I think we've gone back to 1810, maybe 1790, 1810, something like that. We've gone back that far, and there's no trace, no nothing of any African anywhere in my family lineage. There's also, ironically, no trace or no sign of any Caucasian in my family either. Just my family personally. However, my cousin is married to a white man. Shout out to her. But other than that, up until then, there were no traces of any white people in my family, and there are no traces of any Africans in my family at all. It's anecdotal. But
fair enough.
I think that if a lot of us talk to the elders that are here, maybe 90 years old, if there are a lot of them, whatever in your family that's 90 years old, and they're able to have a coherent conversation, a lot of them, there's no African nowhere. Now, some of y'all are going to have African, right? Some of y'all are going to have Caucasian. Like, for example, I have a friend and went to his family reunion, and there was a bunch of white people there as well as black people. You know what I'm saying? Some people have that. But in my particular family, we did not.
Well, it's actually fairly common in America to have a white wing in your black family. I think when I was talking about this issue of identity and the history of it all, I mean what I say. Like, the ethnic studies department just seems to be a constant navel gaze for Black America. And instead of focusing on like it's the Booker T. Washington argument all over again, right? You have to focus on the simple things of building and maintaining. And it seems like we've kind of gotten off of that for the sake of like being proud of a history that may or may not have ever truly been.
But it's a response, though, and that's what I'm trying to get you on this, because I love Booker T. Washington, and I agree 1,000% with that. At the same time, it's a response to the negative push that's on so-called black people in America that they are nothing, that they created nothing, that they invented nothing. You'll even have so-called black women running around saying this, y'all niggas ain't never create nothing, y'all niggas ain't never do nothing, y'all ain't built nothing, y'all just the white man's this and white man's that. And it's like, yo, what? Like, that's not true. So that, I think a lot of times is the pushback. It's not, I don't think people lead with that most of the time.
You brought up the women, so I'm glad you ripped off the scab first, because everybody says I hate the black women's and all, but
a lot of it has been perpetuated by the women, unfortunately.
It has been my contention for years now that the black men in particular holding on to the slavery narrative is only giving the women that very ammunition that you just shot off. You niggas ain't got shit. You ain't never overthrew the white man. Why should I respect you? And the white man got all of this, that, and the third. Like, and by black men constantly standing on the oppression, white supremacy, the white man is holding me back narrative, the white man stole my history, all of that type of shit. It is giving her the psychological elevation above you, because she didn't take the L. It ain't her fault that you niggas got conquered. She don't have to hold on to none of that, but she will use it against you for her own benefit. She will talk that shit because it gives her social leverage. But for the men, the men are not building productively with this knowledge. And so I think it becomes like a double-edged sword. Like, on the one hand, the black women have been able to use that to get maximum social leverage out of it, but at the sacrifice of any group cohesion, any family stability, all that's out the window now, because the women are looking at it like, well, I can do bad all by myself, and we're going to be oppressed. I might as well be oppressed doing whatever I want. And so it creates this whole counterintuitive loser knowledge. I mean, this loser framework where, like, your origin story is a loser from the jump. And I think black folk got to kind of stop focusing on that particular oppression.
That's not true. The origin story is not a loser from the jump. That's the problem. The origin story is not a loser from the jump. That's the whole problem. See, that's what I'm saying. You even believe that dumb shit. The origin story is not.
You just said it, though. The black women. What did you just say about black women, bro?
I said what they say, but that's not the reality of the situation. I said that's what they say, but that's not
reality. It's about perception.
No, but you said nah, but it's not though, and that's the problem, right? We have so why don't you think that we need to build a different perception? And by us,
you need to build a different perception.
But you think by uplifting the white man's balls above yours and worshiping the white man is a way to sit there and elevate yourself? You believe that?
Now you're just using egregious personal attack. I'm
asking you.
All I'm saying is that the story about our past greatness, a past that is so far back beyond none of us can touch it and get anything practical from it now, is loser shit. The path to the new narrative is building now, not talking about the shit your ancient ancestors did. Don't nobody give a fuck about Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa not gonna get none of these niggas no pussy, bro. And so niggas be talking this shit like it matters, and it don't matter. And then niggas use that shit to grandstand in front of the women, and they be laughing about this shit quietly. They gonna give you your good nigga props because they know they get to ultimately slide off of your shit. But the thing is, you can't really connect that to you now. And so the only way to change your image now is to actually be different.
I get you, but then what about the elevation? And I was being hyperbolic, but what about the elevation of white people that a lot of you, and I charge you with this sometimes too. It's like you elevate white men above yourself and you elevate them to a position. Even though I was hyperbolic in what I said, and I said it in jest, I mean it. You are one of those people who you prop up white men and you prop up what white men do, but then you'll downplay so-called black people and what black people done of note of credit. So I don't understand that and how you could justify that.
No matter how much you want it to matter, we are no longer children of Africa. I
never claimed Africa.
Whole point. I'm trying to make a whole point here. I know you didn't claim Africa, but you're claiming this kind of like ancient black, this, that, and the third. And black history in America is full of winners already, and we don't really talk about them unless they were marching for civil rights. There are plenty of black people in history. Like on this panel right here that I was just playing highlights from, there was a woman that Philosophical brought up. He tried to say she invented the internet, which is fucking hilarious, but she was legitimately on the team that was a part of the original internet, right? So a black woman was on that team that started the internet. When we talk about like black pilots, like, bro, black men have been shooting white boys out of the sky since World War One.
Red Tails,
no, World War One, brother.
Before the
World
Red
War
Tails.
One. And so, like, you can talk about black history things, but niggas' conception of great blackness, you're only a great black man if you pissing off the white man, and it's kind of like this is not the products. This is not what it takes to build.
You address my charge of you. I gave you the charge. Can you address the charge I gave of you, brother? I gave you the charge of exalting white men over yourself. That's the charge I gave you, and you didn't address that at all. Like you one of those brothers that address that exalt the white man over himself as if the white man is some superior being just for the sake of his color, and that's not true. So why do you do that?
One, obviously, I reject the entire charge on his face, but I think to the extent that you would even believe that is because, as I was saying, we are of Western culture. And so I am not oriented to look at an alleged pyramid and say, "Ooh, I'm so great and I'm so black," because that pyramid is in Africa. That shit means nothing to me. I want to know what it takes. I want to study what it means to be successful in this context. And being African or being of that descent, it doesn't really help you here and now.
Okay, I'm not okay. So but you're speaking as if a David Stewart doesn't exist, as if a Reginald Johnson doesn't exist, as if a Robert Johnson.
No, I was just naming some of those people too, and you
as if a Robert Smith doesn't exist. No, I didn't reject that premise.
What did I say about those people? Nobody cares about them because they're not civil rights heroes.
I care. I've done streams about them, right?
I know you have, but my point stands. Nobody talks about them because they're not civil rights heroes. Those are just black men who found a niche and they did something dope and they made money, they made a lane for themselves. And when you read your stories of black greatness, somebody's going to tell you about Mansa fucking Musa.
I got you, and that's fair because I don't even go to Africa.
And Shaka Zulu. Don't forget about Shaka.
But I don't have no ties to that, so I can't speak on that. But what I'm saying is because most of the greatest inventors that were so-called black people come from America. They come from America, bro.
Western culture.
The Morgan Garretts of the world, the Lewis Latimers of the world, the Benjamin Bannekers of the world. They are American. They're black Americans.
So here's my charge, Izzy. Here's my charge, because you kind of you hit me with something about exalting the white man, all that, right? And I get where you're coming from, and I've explained this at length on my own time to this audience here. It's about Western civilization, and no matter how you slice it, that shit ain't come from Africa. We might have came from Africa a long time ago, but we're children of the West now, and we need to own that. We need to do our best to inherit that destiny and not try to look back into the past and dwell on some shit that no longer matters. And not for nothing. One last thing. They sold us for a reason. We still have the receipts. We're not going back. We shouldn't have to look back.
I got you, and I'm with all of that. So my question is, again, why do you infuse the white man as to exalt him over yourself? That's my only question.
This is not exalting the white man. This is accepting that we live in a great culture. Western culture is a superior culture, and I think we should do our best to be a part of it and not
so let me ask you this.
Stand on the fucking in the shadows of it trying to tear it down.
I got you. So let me ask you this. So how much percentage do you feel like people that look like us have contributed to that culture and that cultural greatness?
America, I don't know. I'm not going to get into a percentage, but you know, we're at even 13%, a little bit. So let's own 13 on that. Let's just say we're 13.
So you think only a little bit? You think that so-called black people have only contributed a little bit to the greatness of this Western?
We're not the biggest part of the culture. Not population-wise. population wise, we're just not that big, so we can only claim so much.
But that's not true, because again, the 1%ers of the world are the people that make it move and shake. The least percent of people, and this is why I always hate the majority minority conversation. The less numbers are the people that make the most money and the people that make the most things happen. The least numbers, right? So at the end of the day, this whole thing of just because we're just 13%, which I think is a lie anyway, but just because we're 13%, we don't have that much influence. Yo, we are a global influence, and that's the problem. You guys look at yourselves as small, you look at yourselves as insignificant, and you worship whiteness. And this is the issue that I have.
I think there's a level of cope here, Izzy.
The rights you get to enjoy and benefit from possible, and black people are the reason you have in America in the first place. The reason.
This guy.
The reason.
Come on, man. That might be why you got to take it out playing this nigga, man. Don't play
Put your motherfucking fist in the air and say, I'm the reason.
1350, bro. I'm the reason. All right. 13% of the population, 15%, 50% of the homicides. I'm the reason. We got a John Galt on the panel here. Izzy, let's take a break for a minute. We've been arguing pretty heavy for a while. Appreciate you showing up like you did too, by the way. John Galt, what is it you want to tell us today? Because you have a lot of harsh things to say about these blacks, and I'm ready to hear it. Let's go for it, John. Mic check. Your audio is not connected, John. What's going on?
I can't believe I can't.
Okay,
you were there. No, let's see. I just got back in the studio here.
Okay.
Man, I'm having connection issues here. But man, I just can't believe you guys still up here talking about slavery, man. You guys are intelligent enough to come up with some solutions. You guys been up here 3 hours, and man, I had JP up on my panel one day, and he said, man, I'm $200 short of the food truck. I said, well, let's see if we can raise the money. And damn, I'm keep losing my audio here.
No, you're losing visual. We can hear you, but you're losing
and that's
the
JP.
video.
I think my camera's going out. And that's JP, man. And instead of looking back and talking about who did this, who did what, I mean, I think we have enough intelligence to figure out a way forward. That's my thoughts on it.
Well, John, the question about slavery, it wasn't really a solution question, because why do you even need a solution for something so far away, right? We are where we are right now. I don't think we need a solution for slavery, but the question was really about a moral sort of mental game, like why was it wrong? And I just took the side of the argument that it wasn't wrong. And I just laid out a simple scenario that once upon a time, everybody used to die after war. And so we stopped killing everybody. We kept them alive so they can carry our shit. How is that wrong? I mean, I could have just killed them all, right? Now they're alive and they're carrying my stuff from me. It seemed like a win-win. But black folk don't like these type of
when you put it in that perspective.
No, finish your point. Finish your thought, John.
No, I mean, when you put it in perspective, I heard the Arabs used to, chop off their genitals. And I've been to Egypt, and they're not too happy about the Arabs over there and their treatment of them. And relative to the Arab, the white man seems rather kind. That's it. Those are the facts of the matter.
There are Arabs right now killing a bunch of Africans just for being African, and everyone is ignoring that going on. No one wants to address that. It's happening right now as we speak.
And I think somebody in my chat, Freeman's Journal, he typed it out perfectly that black folk use these things to get social clout. But I don't think we really care about the heart of the issue, because slavery never really ended. Technically, the white man stomped it out largely, but it didn't actually quite end. I mean, hell, I've been on a panel with people who are from Africa right now, and their families have money, and they'll tell me little slick shit like, "Yeah, we have a houseboy or whatever," and I'm like, "Come on, that nigga can't leave if he wants to." What do you mean you have a house boy? Like, come on, these niggas they do that shit right now. And this is what's so ironic about it. We're tying a lot of weird threads together. But like, even with just the African population, right? Between the Arabs and the Black Africans and the North Africans or whatever, you inviting a population over here that has an entirely different moral framework than you, right? And so, like, when Izzy was talking about this whole humanity of slavery thing, and I'm just laughing at it all because, like, ultimately, nobody cares about these arguments when it comes down to it. Oh, the white man, perhaps, and that's what I think Black folk haven't quite grasped. The white man that we have such resentment for is the only place that even entertains these arguments about your humanity as a Black and all this shit. Because the Arabs, there are no descendants of Arab slavery, and they made sure that they stopped you from being a descendant. That your humanity wasn't even a question for them. Well, at least the white folk, they fought wars over your Black ass humanity.
Yeah, you know, Izzy, I'm sorry, Hood, you know, it's interesting. I did street interviews yesterday, and kind of to highlight your point. There were a group of Muslims here in DC, and they were advocating for whatever they advocate for, Muslim shit, right? And then, you know, they were like, so I asked them about homosexuality, and they were like, we're against it. It's against our religion, blah, 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 blah. And then an upper class white man, homosexual, comes along. And I asked him about, you know, what do you think about Muslims and, you know, stuff like that. And he threaded the needle. I know good Muslims. I know this. But they don't see his lifestyle as being anywhere near, you know, appropriate. And it's like a collision there. And only the white man could seem to be able to kind of come up, you know, resolve that conflict.
It's the lambs walking into the mouth of the lion, and nature has never seen such a thing ever. This is a phenomenon unlike anything I've ever seen.
Well, not exactly. You ever read the book Camp of the Saints? You ever heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've kind of read a little bit of it here and there. It gets thrown around in these right-wing circles I talk about sometimes. But yeah, I think the quote that I remember is, they'll burn your 1,000-year-old oak wood door and think nothing of it. Your universe has no meaning to these people.
Yeah, it's very similar. You know, that book kind of came back in popularity when Trump first won, and Steve Bannon was seen walking into the White House with the book. That was my first time ever hearing about it.
But it does kind of raise the question of like certain things that I don't think a lot of Black people really have had a serious philosophical conversation about, right? And this is why I like it, and that's why I'm thankful to Izzy for being a participant in this, because I laid these arguments in his lap, and I know not everybody thinks about it. Like, you really think the white man is your problem when we're undergoing a huge demographic shift in this country? So between the Muslims and the Indians, listen, I would rather have all the Mexicans if we're gonna let this place go to the Muslims and the Indians, bro. The Mexicans chill as fuck compared to these two. And so, like, you got to really consider the deals you might have to make going forward in the future. And you having this, us as Black folk having this perpetual grievance against the white man for a history that is 1,000 years basically away from us. I mean, 200 years away. 200 years might as well be 1,000 years. And it's like, bro, the future is now, and you guys are still in the past.
We are the only people. Hold on, we are the only people who identify as that. We are the only people who has identified that or say that ignorant shit. The Asian people do not say that ignorant shit. The little hat people do not say that ignorant shit. They have holidays. They have remembrances. They make goddamn altars to their ancestors and to the people, their predecessors that paved the way before them to get to where they're at. We're the only people that have that stupid ass ideology of, yo, well, the past doesn't matter. And, you know, this happened just so many. And it wasn't even 200 years ago, fam. Is the crazy thing about it. It wasn't even 200 years ago. 1865 is not 200 years ago, family. So at the end of the day, it's like, come on, man. Like, yo, I hear what y'all saying. And yes, there does need to be self-accountability, like I always preach. And yes, the cavalry ain't coming, and you gotta have some get up and go, some gumption, and make it happen. At the same time, we cannot ignore where we came from, and we do not spit in the face of the people who paved the way before us. We cannot do that. That's ignorance. And that is how we are defunct and how we continue to fall far behind. It used to be a time where we acknowledged the people who came before us and acknowledged their contribution, and we built off of that. Now we want to just ignore it and act like we're in some total new shit, like they didn't do anything to help us get here. And then we want to just start all over. No, that's not the way shit works. And that's not the way we're going to be able to have anything effective or have anything of note.
I would have to argue that in terms of owing anything to our ancestors didn't endure slavery so that we could somehow become Africans all over again. Our ancestors did not endure slavery so that we could turn over this country that we are the descendants, the rightful heirs of, to hostile foreign groups of people. And I think we give lip service to concepts like the ancestors, but we have no real practical bearing on what that truly means. Like, would your ancestors want you to actually give away the country that they bled to be in?
No. At the same time, how can you continue to say that there is their land? My ancestors, this is their shit. So no, they wouldn't, regardless of what color, creed, nationality, whatever. This is their shit. And the way that they run it was an AMP system where nobody could own the land. You know what I'm saying? Because land is for everybody. So they didn't have a concept of it in the same way that we know it today. That's number one. But number two, you keep going back to Africa, and I told you I'm not going to Africa at all. I never go to Africa, right? So 160 years, bro. We're talking about 160 years ago. You do understand that? We're not talking about 200 and something years ago. We're talking about 160 years ago.
I'm a lot closer to 200 than not. That's like 40 more years. We're still going to be alive for that, most likely.
God willing. But this is the thing though, Hood. We got, but yo, fam, why won't y'all acknowledge the Asian people that y'all look up to so much? They acknowledge the people that came before them, their ancestors. The little hat people that y'all look up to so much and praise so much, they acknowledge their ancestors and people that came before them. As a matter of fact, they're heavy on that. And they acknowledge, they even have a holiday or a day of remembrance for the tragedy that occurred. So it's like, why are we the only people that's told to get over it, don't mention it, don't think about it, don't have no kind of anything to it, instead of learning from it, growing from it, and getting better? That's the question you got to ask.
I'm gonna come back to that. American Man, hold on. American Man was trying to jump in a second ago.
Yeah, let me. So
you come up next, Trey.
I think that I think it's a huge misunderstanding of what goes on, right? I don't think. Well, I'm not going to say anyone because some people have nefarious things that they're trying to do. So here's the thing, right? I think everyone should acknowledge history, what happened, blah blah blah, right? I think the one thing that the small hats do is that they acknowledge their history, but they also use their history against people to move themselves forward. I think a lot of Black people use their history to do a moral grandstanding more than to move something forward. And I think maybe that's what some people are calling out, and it's seen as, oh, you're telling Black people to forget about their history and this and that, when really some people are saying, hey, you guys should know your history, but you also have to move forward. And I think it gets to be a lot of moral grandstanding to bludgeon a white man to death about the past, more so than using it to move Black people forward as the Jews and as the Asians do.
Yeah, shout out to Red Illusion. Black take their history and move backwards towards it. That's that African time shit. We move backwards toward history. Trey, what's going on, bro? Mic check, mic check. Trey to NBD.
Yeah, I'm here. I was just saying, John, is John speaking right now?
No, he wasn't. You having a connection issue?
Yo, you got me now?
Yeah, you got the floor, bro.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, man. I'm proud of you, bro. You sounded like me 6 years ago when I was telling niggas this. But it's this, man. I finally come. I'm like all the way over on the far right, man, with Nick and them, Myron. Man, niggas is just a different species, bro. We aren't the same as them, bro. It's not. It's something in our brains. You know, it is the homie, bro. But y'all are a different species, bro. The only way the mind can actually conceptualize this group mentality, we, they, them, us, all that, is to be some sort of different species where you can't look at yourself in the mirror as a man and be like, I come from my daddy's nuts. I don't care if he came from my daddy came from a white man, an Asian man, Mexican, wherever your daddy came from. You're gonna respect your dad's nuts, and you're gonna build yourself for your own family. All that shit leaning into, and you right, the hoes do be laughing. Hoes laughing all around the world at niggas, man. It's hilarious when you don't even like you go places and you don't speak Spanish and there's a bunch of niggas around there. Bro, I listen to them just rolling at niggas, man, talking about how they gonna fleece niggas and shit because of the way niggas think. All this past victimhood slavery. You got chicks in foreign countries, bro, making like $300 selling a pussy a month, and niggas coming over there with iPhones and shit talking about oppression. What the fuck they think they get scoped? These hoes don't give a fuck about them. All he is a walking lick because they leaning into their own fucking victimhood that they mama taught them, or they daddy that was raised by mama and them taught them. Your ancestors are only like 60 to 70 years back. Everything before that, you might as well throw the baby out with the bathwater. That shit is make believe. You were fed a history. All shit from 5 years ago, we can't even believe. And motherfuckers out here believing some shit 150 years ago. Fuck all that shit. Just get out here and make money. The only fucking color that matter out here is fucking green. Fuck all these niggas come to me, hey man, this black. But man, fuck y'all niggas. Go make money. I'm gonna
I
make
want
money
to
with motherfuckers that believe in green. Fuck all this dumb shit.
I want to kick it back to Iz because you closed out with a question, and then I want to kind of address it and then kind of pass it back to you about the ancestors. You know, you kind of charged us with not respecting or disrespecting our ancestors to some degree, and you mentioned like the Jews and the Asians, Chinese, or whatever. And here's the problem that I think you don't really quite grasp, and this is why I focus on Black Americans as being a kind of a new product of the New World, because that's what they called America back then, the New World. Our quote ancestors didn't give us like a great moral system to guide us through the future. Because for better or worse, the Jews have their tradition, the Asians have their Confucius or whatever. When you talk about like the quote African ancestors and that thing, I mean, Black folk kind of want to pull back to some type of African wisdom system or whatever. And the fact is, there are a bunch of different tribes and beliefs and all that. There's no one unifying thing there. And I think because of that, the whole Black identity thing just becomes wide open to a grift. And that's what winds up happening. People start using that ancestor thing as some type of grift. It becomes a herding system for Black folk, whereas like it'd be more practical if we focused on our American nature and not going all the way far back into the darkness of history.
Hey Hood, can I respond to you real quick, bro? Before Izzy jumps in?
Sure.
Because something you said the culture, whatever the Jews got, the Asians got, whoever. Nah, bro. We got Americanism. And here's the thing, niggas every day, they out here truck driving, they out here building credit repair businesses, doing taxes, flipping houses. You see niggas all over the internet talking about trading now. All that shit is American concepts, American culture. Niggas are quick to jump all on American culture, podcasting, getting on fucking YouTube in front of the camera, yapping their lips. That's American culture. Shit that Americanism allowed them to do. Then they turn around, oh man, let's go back to fucking eating each other in fucking mud huts, some mayor shit like that. Man, fuck is wrong with niggas, bro?
That's how I
That's
feel
American
about it.
culture.
That's exactly how I feel about it. I mean, compared to all the other melanated, well, we'll just start with Africa, right? Just keep it within that framework. Compared to all the Africans, bro, we actually were given such a gift by being Americans, and the price for that was the slavery that our ancestors went through, right? And I don't think we need to go back to some dark history to take pride in some shit that don't even connect to us no more.
It's so frustrating. Y'all, listen, if you come from Africa, then that's cool. But like again, part of the problem is you've been stolen. Like y'all so lost in the sauce that you don't realize that your own shit been taken from you and repackaged, and y'all had the blue magic, and now y'all on some dog food. Like it's crazy. Like at the end of the day, like this Africa narrative, y'all believe that shit, and I guess you do, but I don't. So like it ain't have nothing to do with Africa. Like, I don't even understand why y'all keep going back there. It has absolutely zero to do with Africa.
It's the best we can go with because it makes the most practical sense. And then honestly, by your own admission,
practical sense.
By your own admission, your own position is based on circumstantial evidence at best.
Wait, no, yo, you're sitting here telling me that makes the most practical sense about being from Africa, like a million people. Let's just go to a million. They said 3 million, but let's just go to a million. A million people travel thousands of miles on months trips, hundreds at a time on top of thousands, thousands on time on top of each other. Didn't have no running water, didn't have no goddamn bathroom, and survived and came here and worked and built it. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Y'all, hold on,
Izzy, I'm with you on that. Izzy, listen.
One at a time.
I'm with you on that, Izzy.
Izzy, calm down. Let John jump in.
Let me ask you, out of here with that bullshit.
Izzy, I've thought about those numbers as well. Yeah, that must have been difficult. A lot of people have been dying. What would you do? You throw them overboard. It does seem kind of astounding, to pull that off, particularly back in those times. But I guess if you don't believe it, or if you do believe it, what is the outcome? What do you do going forward? I don't know how we got here. I don't even spend much time thinking about it, to be honest with you.
John, go to mathematically impossible. How about that?
I'm with Izzy on that one. Izzy, real quick. Let me get Izzy.
I'm agreeing with you. It seems like that would be a very difficult thing to overcome. Yeah.
John,
no, it's mathematically fucking impossible.
Izzy, chill, bro. Chill. You got brothers on your side on that, Izzy. But here's the problem, bro. Once you accept the fact that African slave trade is fucking impossible because fuck the shape of the earth shit. Go on a cruise ship. It's fucking impossible. It ain't happening. ChatGPT will even tell you it ain't possible. But here's the thing, Izzy. That means that we are from here. This is our shit.
Yes.
We are this is our shit. Why the fuck would you be a victimhood and complain about the white man? Anybody that's from here, this is their shit. Lean on Americanism.
I'm with you on that. That's what I'm saying. I'm with you on all that. That's what I'm saying.
But I think, Izzy,
hold on real quick, John. I'm with you on all that, but the problem is the exaltation of people that's not like you and the demonization of people that look like you. That's the issue that I have. I'm with all of that shit that you're talking about. I believe in a free market system. Okay, I believe in capitalism. I believe in doing the best that you can and being the best you can, and not making no excuses for shit. But at the same time, when you exalt people and make it seem like these people are fucking gods and you ain't shit, nah, I got an issue with that because that is quite the reverse. That's the problem.
Izzy,
why don't you just create an environment where? Go ahead.
Well, let me respond, John. Izzy, this is the thing, man. I'm talking. You said it before. You talk to your uncles and stuff that are like 90. I do that all the time, and I talk to my uncle that's 90. And one thing it emphasizes is that every other group took their niggas and put them to the side. But folks that look like you and me decided, let's bring our niggas into the fold because somebody doesn't like them because they do dumb shit. But it's because of their skin color, not because they do dumb shit. Everybody else in America says, man, put them people away somewhere. But for some reason, niggas got to be like, no. We got to bring the fucked up people along with us. We got to raise them up. Yeah, fuck that shit. Let them niggas fucking starve. Let them niggas die.
John, you wanted to say something? Because I want to get in here after you.
I forget what I was about to say, but I just think, if we're from here, then that really takes away all of the victimhood. Shit. If you don't want to believe that we were enslaved and brought here on those conditions, then why are we having such problems here? Again, like
how come the other Indians is chilling, but these natives are restless, right?
Yo, there's a lot. Come on, man. Come on, fam. There's a lot of historical facts that would show exactly what the answer to that is. Like, come on, there's a such thing as Dawes rolls, $5 Indians. That actually happened. That's historically proven that actually happened. There's a whole lot of things. There was such thing as mandatory schools that they put them kids in and they would not let them speak their tribal language. There's such thing as inter tribal slavery. It's a whole bunch of shit that identifies that if you want to go do the math on
But
that.
is it
I got it all.
as it stands today though? As it stands today though, is it? All of those big words you just called out, most of it I had never heard of before. Like, how do they make hay about all those facts you just mentioned going forward today? Like, I think that's their bigger problem, honestly. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like this, John.
Blacks have their heads full of shit, man. They could spout off all kind of statistics and this and that, books they read, and then it's like they go back to their neighborhoods all fucked up. And
but my neighborhood is not. Oh, my neighborhood is not.
And then there comes the next thing. And then there comes the next thing. The one black will say, but my neighborhood ain't fucked up.
The one black is more than one black.
Okay, baby. All of us live in good neighborhoods. But then it's just solo rappers. You can't acknowledge that most blacks do not feel comfortable living around other blacks. I don't care if your neighborhood's all black and yours is nice. You can't. If you can deny that, then that shows you have your head buried in this thing. Most blacks are burying themselves in bills, debt, running away from other blacks, regardless of whatever the history book says there.
I think, John, on your show, you take a very intimate look at some of the chaos that happens at the lowest level of the economic run, where a lot of black folk wind up in one way or another. And I'm familiar with that environment in my own way too, so I get where you're coming from. And I do think people like to hide behind certain minority images. Like, put it this way. When we talk about the black community being oppressed, people are all in for those conversations, right? When we talk about, somehow the white man did XYZ to the black community, people are all in on those conversations. But then if John were to point out most black folk really try to get away from each other because they don't like living around each other, then somebody always wants to point out how nice their life is, which is now a contradiction to the oppression narrative.
Well, Hood, what happens is this. You get all these, you get these black women that, start making a lot of money and they single moms, and then they move to these nice neighborhoods with they badass kids. And now they little young nigga kids fuck up that neighborhood. And now you got to have more white flight. And now now I got to move somewhere else and the white people got to do the sniff test on me. Man, that's the problem, bro.
Yeah.
Hood, I interviewed two black girls yesterday, Hood. Both went to PWIs, as they call them, Penn State University. Now, that's an expensive ass school. I think they said $65,000 a year. These weren't rich blacks. So I said, how did you afford it? Scholarships. Now, if they wanted to go to Howard, they couldn't have gone there because Howard wouldn't be able to give them scholarships. Maybe they applied and didn't go anyway. So they get to PWI University, Penn State in this case, and they want to put their blackness on this predominantly white university. The white university could afford to, subsidize them. But then they get there, it's all white around. They're like, oh, these people are MAGA, these people are racist, and more than likely just white people. A lot of blacks go to Penn State, and they haven't strung up any of them. But there is no black Penn State with the endowment that could subsidize these poor blacks. Nice facilities.
Howard is as close as you get, right?
And Howard is not anywhere near the dorms are terrible. The administration is bad. Anyone ever been to a black college, you know what it's like to register at a black college. Enrollment is always chaos. And so these white people, these blacks want the Penn States of the world. But when they get there, they got to assimilate. And that, I think it's very difficult for many of them to do that. And, it's a big problem.
John, I wanted to address something else. Well, to address Izzy's point again about, exalting the white people. I think black folk like to charge other blacks with some type of racial betrayal if we move too far away from what you perceive the black thing to be. But I'm at a point in life where I just want the trains to run on time, and I want the trash to be picked up, and I want the police to arrest the criminals when they actually do something wrong. And when you live in a predominantly black area that's ran by black people, that most of the city council and all that is black, and the cops are black, it doesn't always work the way you want it to work, right? And I'm not saying that every black district is complete shit, but when you compare, when you look across the road track, when you look across the railroad tracks and you see how other neighborhoods are a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner, they function a little bit better. I want things to be nice for black people too. And I think the problem that black people have is that we want certain things without being willing to do the things that it requires having. So like if you want this suburban living, you have to behave as those suburban people behave, which means we have to kind of let go of certain like black elements or whatever. Like you can't hold on to both things, like you were saying, trying to bring your blackness to the PWI. I think we kind of we keep having this weird identity thing where we don't want to let go of the shit that holds us back.
Well,
But
Hood,
you know,
because
here's a question I have for you.
it's there. I'll say this, Joe John, real quick. Hood, there are different species, bro, and like Hood, man,
I think so too.
it breaks my heart, Hood, to hear you talk to we and us stuff because we're talking about a different species of humans, bro. They want to
I
live
think so
that
too.
way. They can't live no other way. They can't live in peace. They need the chaos because
Yeah.
here's the thing: before niggies were segregated, niggies were redlined. We weren't. Brothers like us weren't redlined and segregated. We did just what we were doing now 100 years ago. But the problem is that them lines came up when we allowed niggas to enter society. They're a different species, bro. We just gotta
Yeah.
accept it.
Yeah. I think if you understand biology, you know, that or even software in this case, you know, it could be things like variants. They're kind of based off the same thing, but they're a little bit different. And those differences can be profound in some cases.
I think, John, we're tiptoeing into like Nick Fuentes conversations here because these are the taboo, forbidden stuff here, and I actually don't even want to disagree with you guys. I think there's a lot to be said in that. However, I think in the modern context, and like Trey, you just accused me of saying we and us and all of that, and I don't run away from it because I think ultimately it boils down to making a choice. All men must choose. And I think internally, a lot of black folk have chosen anti-civilization because it feels blacker.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
Wait, so
Nigga, like,
let me hold on real quick. Hood, let me ask you. So you got Trey, you got John, you got yourself, you got Mr. O with info, the other brother with the A. I apologize I can't see your name, but the brother. So let me ask you a question, man. So y'all is telling me that the people that y'all are around, your family members, your loved ones, your children, that your brothers and sisters, your father, your mother, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, that the majority of the people that grew up around you, that you grew up, they have this mentality and mindset, and they are losers. The most of the people that's in your family and your friends and your social group, your peer group.
I never said losers, though.
Yeah,
So
not
now
even saying
they
losers.
have this
No.
mentality. So they most of them have
Right
this
here on the
mentality.
screen. Read the words on the screen. Anti-civilization is the black revolutionary choice. So what I'm trying to explain is there's been an attitude that's crept into Black America, and I'm charging it right to the revolutionary element. And it's sort of like anti-productive, anti-civilizational, pro-criminal. This is why a lot of your black leaders love criminals, and we recruit directly from the jails and all that.
This is why I say it's a grift, because this is why I say, hold on, no. This is why it's a fucking grift, because I asked you a direct question, because again,
we're not
I
talking
can't
about
hold on real
races.
quick.
We're not
Exactly.
talking about every single
if,
black person.
so,
No, we're
so
not
hold
talking
on,
about
but if
every
you're
single black
saying
person.
most,
We're talking about
hold on.
culture.
But if you're saying most, then you have to include the people that you're around, the people that you associate with, the people who identify with you, identify with your name and with your
I got it. We got it.
Hold on real quick. So at the end of the day, it's highly problematic, and it's a motherfucking grift, because we all know that the people that we associate with, if we have a certain mindset, we're not going to associate with people that have that type of ideology or that type of mindset. We're going to associate with people who are like-minded as ourselves. So that's how I know it's some bullshit, and it's just some anti yourself hatred and rhetoric for a fucking coin. You're selling yourself for shit.
Hold on, Izzy. You know,
You haven't even made a dime in like days, bro. What are you talking about?
Can I respond to Izzy for a second? Like,
Yeah,
Izzy,
bro.
I think what you're doing, honestly, it's not a criticism. I think what you're doing is, I think in statistics, they would call it like self-selection.
Right.
You surround yourself around good people. But see, I don't get to self-select. I take all comers. Anybody call me looking for a room, I take their call. Any of them I rent to that I would never, ever have any social dealings with. So I don't get to self-select like you do and pick the best blacks to be around. I get to see them all, the whole spectrum. And I think that's the part that you're missing.
I think Izzy, man, you answered you asked us all a question, Izzy, then you answered that question. You laid your own framework out, and then you came up with your own freaking hypothesis to your own framework, which was weird. It's that, and the question is this: is everybody who came from my mother and father, they're just like me, to some extent. My mother and father did a good job, and it's on for you and your wife or your baby mama, whoever, to do the same thing. But unfortunately, for the last 60 years, it's been this cycle of de-evolution back to the savagery.
Because like it is when I
hold on real quick. But the
Yeah.
problem is that doesn't represent most of us. That does represent the loud minority, the ratchet. So there are a lot. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of ratchetness. I'm not saying there's not a lot of degeneracy and debauchery, because I know that there is. However, what I'm saying is the fact that we try to attribute it to being so-called black and blackness is a fallacy, because you had 6 so-called black people on this guy doggone panel, and we're saying that the people that we identify with and the people that we're around don't behave in this manner. So
They
that
don't.
doesn't that
They
can't
don't.
represent the
Hold on,
majority.
let me jump in here
People.
next. Let me jump in here next. 'Cause I want to point this out though. Is it's like you and I are like the regular, nameless, faceless. You know, we're not famous. We didn't run some type of big business. We're regular guys, right? And even being regular people, you've managed to surround yourself with decent enough people. I've done the opposite. I've removed myself from a lot of the people that we kind of talk about, right? And I think when it comes to the leadership, the upper class, they obviously like the boule, the black wealthy aren't necessarily running around doing stupid criminal stuff for the most part. But when you think about the nature of the black intelligentsia, a heavily left-wing radical body of people, and that is the
Communist.
spirit, that is the mind and spirit of a lot of black thought, generally speaking. Whether or not we can find little niches of utopia, generally speaking, the spirit of black thought is led by black intelligentsia, which is revolutionary communists, right? And so when we're talking about being sort of quote anti-civilizational, this is not me making a charge against every single working person that has an office job or drives a truck or does all the regular things that regular people do. But I think when it comes to just the general tone and the overall direction of Black America, and this is also why Black America loves the race thing and is so hostile about race, I think there is a just sort of oppositional nature to Black America that is very much backed up by the elite, the thinkers, the book writers, the professors, a lot of your elected officials, your judges. Even this is why we have the no bail shit. We're gonna let the criminals out on bail because it's unfair to them and all of that. A lot of this is being done to quote help Black folk, right? And I just can't help but to think that the leadership wants it this way. Black leadership likes it this way for their own reasons.
Yeah, but I mean, because it's profitable. But let me ask you a question now. That I have to agree with you on. But when you say intelligentsia, give me some examples of, because
The
someone said
1619 Project.
Can I give him an example?
Hold on real quick, John. Let me ask him a question. Let me get an understanding. So when you're saying that the black, because Red Illusion is saying the black intelligentsia is 100% anti-West, and so are you saying
right
you wouldn't consider yourself an intelligent black man? Or is it?
I am not part of the university class that writes books and gets put on the tour circuit and all that, right? Nobody's ever going to pay me $100,000 to give a speech.
They might, but I see.
Well, eventually, that's what we're aiming for, right? But
right, they might.
I'm not there yet.
Don't sell yourself short, my brother. Don't sell yourself short. Go ahead, John.
But John, you wanted to give an example.
Yeah,
and we're going to wrap this up in a minute. I got to get up out of here. Clock's running down.
You know, I interviewed a lady last night, black woman. Her name is Desi something. Desi, she's a comedian. She was a federal worker. And she'd been laid off due to Trump's policies and things like that. She's in her, let's just say, close to 40. And she was happy as hell. She'd been laid off. And she said, I'm now being a comedian. I always wanted to be a comedian. I used to write skits back in Oxford, Mississippi. And now this layoff is providing me the opportunity to be a comedian. What does that mean? There are a lot of blacks that are getting up, going to work every day, smiling, grinning, gritting their teeth. They don't want to be there. Their skills aren't necessarily cut out to be there. But they got to do it. They got to make a living. They've gone off, got an education. They feel like they got to put it to use. And it took a firing for her to get to the point that she was doing what she wanted to do. What was within her, and it was comedy. A lot of blacks have that type of talent. Comedy, sports, entertainment. They're witty. Many of them are witty, quick-witted. They can come up with comedic things that maybe more tighter wound people are unable to do. And I think that's kind of, it really typifies where blacks are, is that they kind of out of position in many, many cases. I think that's why you see people.
So
like
wait a minute.
JP.
When you say that, so before I jump on you for that, let me ask you a question. Are you inferring that the only thing that so-called black people are good at is athletics and jokes?
No. But I'm saying that there's a lot of blacks that you see every day getting up, going to work, and they hate it. That conformist sitting at a cubicle working like that. A lot of blacks don't enjoy doing it.
Well,
Maybe
John,
they're
here's the
not
thing,
wired
John.
to do it, and everybody just is not wired like to. I see a lot of the most successful blacks, the ones I would rent to, are the ones that work by themselves. Truck drivers, people with trades where they can more or less work on their own. But you get a black, you got to go work in a group of people. It becomes problems for him. This lady was fired. Go ahead, sure.
His thing is this, man. You're right now. You're equating the genders as being the same for that, skin color. I'm in a grocery store.
I think the men are the same. The men are very much the same.
No. But here's the thing, bro, is that the outcomes aren't the same. If that woman quits her job, she's going to get social benefits. She's going to get help. There's always going to be a simp to come along and save the day. But men, that's a whole different story. And that's the problem, is that, and this is one of my arguments to Izzy while I hit the panel. And what, like Hood was saying, the women of that skin tone are laughing at him because they know they always have a bailout system. They use the victimhood claims or whatever to like pull a dude to the step-led pipeline, guilt him into like saving them because of skin color. But even if they don't get that, they still get the bailout. That's why you can't equate the genders when it comes to all this, nigga shit.
Well, I would say for the men, and here's a good example for the men. I was on my panel one night, and a couple guys that are blue collar. One of them a criminal minded nigga, Tyrone. He been in prison. And I said, Tyrone, I send you $1,000 right now if you move to DC. You know how to paint. I'm a landlord. I use a paint. I don't give a damn what his criminal record is. I've been around him enough on the YouTube channel. Kind of have a good gauge of him. All these educated blacks, they have nothing to offer. So there was a guy named General Dave. He floats around on the internet. He announced he lost his job. There's all that education. There's nothing he can do for me that I would offer him $1,000. There's nothing. On the flip side, on the other side, the lower educated side, a nigga like JP, he has more potential, more upside than a lot of these educated blacks. That is true. If you had to bet your money on one horse, would you bet on an educated black or JP, a General Dave or JP? I would bet on JP. He has that charisma, natural talent, give a gab. You can go places with that. A lot of these blacks are educated, but they can't talk worth of shit. Can't even do a 5-minute monologue. There's no there. They just read a lot of books and got education, but there's no depth to it. I think you see that a lot.
So because someone has foolery and buffoonery and is willing to expose their ignorance and people laugh at their ignorance, that's more potential than someone who is is traditionally educated. Now, I could agree if you're talking like my man Hood said from earlier, the Booker T. Washington perspective, where you're talking about being able to have skills and have labor, you know what I mean, labor behind you. My dad always taught me from the beginning, yo, a man should always have at least one trade, and really you should have 2 or 3 things that you could do practically, that if all hell breaks loose and things go down, you're able to point to and you're able to do something to earn money regardless, right? Or you're able to just sustain and take care of your family or take care of yourself. So I was raised like that. At the same time, what trade does JP have? What skill besides being a buffoon, besides being, totally ignorant, does he have? He doesn't have
See,
it.
this is one thing where I think blacks don't have a bad eye on recognizing talent. JP has a food truck. In some phases, he is a food truck. I know. I've seen him. Most of these blacks don't even have the gumption to do that. They get up and go to work every day, make a few dollars, but don't put anything out into the physical world. Not a food truck, not a hot dog stand, nothing.
So does it matter that it doesn't matter that's a dirty food truck and that he doesn't take care of it? It's not sanitized.
Well, sure. See, you can criticize his food truck, but you don't have one.
I don't want a food truck. I have a restaurant. I have 2 of them.
Okay, well, but I'm talking about you. But I'm not talking about you in particular. I'm talking about all the other people.
You said me.
But you means
you just say I don't even have a food truck. Is what
you means plural. You use plural. You can be plural as well, right? You do know that, right? You can be a plural. Okay. You can be a group of people.
Well, I started a restaurant.
But the people that I hear, I don't want to hear your story. I'm sure you're doing very well for yourself. But the people that I hear criticizing, many of them, they get up and go to jobs and wouldn't have the gumption. They got money in their 401k saved, but wouldn't even invest in themselves and open up a food truck. They got dreams, desires, they won't chase them. He's at least chasing his. He's showing more courage than a lot of these blacks to get up and go to work every day and do jobs that they hate. He's not willing to do that. And so you think he's a buffoon. I've talked to him on the phone. That man is not a buffoon. This is what I'm saying. You blacks don't understand. You can't identify talent very well. He's not a buffoon. A buffoon couldn't get 7,000 subscribers. And if he's a buffoon, then what does it say about the people that listen to him? Nightish is a buffoon. Because he gets up there and goes to sleep on his pound, can't stay awake. That's the effort that blacks put into things. You see that? That's more, that he is more representative of blacks, Nightish. A man that puts nothing into it, uses other people's content, and then go to sleep and brag about how much money he made half-assing it. That's black. JP, he put more effort into it than what Nightish does on his YouTube channel and in the real world.
You think so?
That's the difference. Hell yeah, that's the difference. That nigga, I challenged Nightish just to get up out of his chair. He couldn't even get up.
He could, he just didn't want to.
He didn't want to, and he left without proving me wrong and proving his audience wrong. That he's not sitting there shitting on himself.
He's got up before, but why? But that's
why he ain't get up then. But that shows you that shows you the depth of the lack of talent in Black America. A nigger that would get up here and go to sleep on no effort. Like you think about if he will put that much effort in something that's low effort, he ain't even willing to step up and put enough effort and don't even have the humility, the pride in himself to just shut the screen down when you about to go off snoring. Won't even do it.
Okay.
Anybody with honor and pride in himself, if he ran a store, how do you think if he listen, I gave 90 some advice, real estate advice. He praised me to no end. The other day I saw him up on CT's panel. I said, hey, did you put in the action that advice I gave you? No, I ain't do it. I've been sitting here in my chair on the internet all day. That's blacks.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, shit. Well, okay, well, how do you reconcile what you see with all this big grandiose talk that you had? Nowhere.
We got to close it down right here, but I think we're going to end on that note right there because I totally agree with the grand theme of what you're trying to say. And this is my closing criticism of the whole pro-black left-wing position. I think a lot more of black problems can be solved by internal motivation than programs and reparations and hand-me-downs and Goldman Sachs giving all this money to black women and all these things that people do to virtue signal. I think John is a lot closer to the difficult truth, because sometimes the truth is just a matter of doing the difficult things ahead of you. And it's difficult. Like, life isn't always easy. Most of life for most people is just a chore, one after another. And a lot of folk don't really want to get about the business of doing that. But I firmly believe that is really what it takes for black folk to have the image that we want to have. But we kind of been running for a while here, and I got to get up out of here. And I want to thank you guys for coming up. Shout out to you, Iz, because you were kind of back to the wall this whole conversation. So it's usually me in that situation. So appreciate you coming up here and taking a hot seat like that. Shout out to you, John, for coming up. You just closed the show out with a banger. Mr. O, I'll catch you on the next one. We will pick this up in another day or two. Hopefully, I think I should be monetized back up tonight. I don't know, tonight or tomorrow morning. I should be back up on my main channel. It's been 7 days in the wilderness, and goddamn, I did like 52 hours of work between Monday and Friday. Oh my God, I cooked right now. Oh, anyway, tomorrow's a new week. Tomorrow's Monday. We'll see what happens next week. You guys have a great day. We will be back again with more conversations, more deep thought, more anti-blackness, because that's what they accuse me of. I might as well just own it. The anti-black conservative, y'all. That's who I am, the anti-black conservative. It's my fault. I did it.
The reason, if you're black right now, put your motherfucking fist in the air and say, I'm the reason.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.